record this call, right? Appreciate everybody, man, for getting in tune. I always tell you guys could be doing anything at this time, but you guys hopped on this call to get some type of information, get some type of value, and to honestly advance yourself with learning something new. For those of you guys that don't know me, my name is CJ. You guys can actually follow me on Instagram at underscore the official CJ. I like to call myself a culture advancer. I like to call myself a public figure. But ultimately, I'm really just an individual that's average and ordinary, just like everybody on this call. But I'm just somebody that has above average and above ordinary goals and dreams for myself, and as you should as well. And today, if you guys are new to this call, we got conscious conversations where there's no filter to what we talk about. We're here to actually help and educate and grow the community on a high level with having high level conversation on this call. So I definitely appreciate everybody that's already getting in tune, hopping on with their cams on. That's one thing I like to say. If you guys are new, have your cam on, because everybody here is just like you, tapped in, looking to actually grow themselves. You're surrounded by a bunch of people who are like-minded, just like you, who are looking to elevate themselves. We're learning new ways on how to create money and how to actually take control of your lifestyle and of your world. So definitely show that you tapped in by having your cam on. And the second thing, just make sure you got a pen and paper to take some type of notes, because 90% of the things that we're going to talk about, you're not going to remember if you don't have it written down in a notebook or something for you to actually jot it down to revisit it sometime after this call. Now, I want to dive straight into things. I know that this call can definitely, we could definitely be on here for a minute, what I'm saying, just depending on the topic. So without further ado, what I want to go ahead and do is kind of just introduce the other guest speakers today. First things first, if you guys don't already know, my guy Derek, is an individual that has been on the calls multiple times with us. And, like I always tell y'all, this is an individual that is very aware when it comes to how he's articulating himself. He's somebody that's been able to impact people spiritually, but also really helping people to understand who they are through learning about themselves through astrology. So this is an individual that understands life and understands people on different cosmic realms that you guys should definitely tap in with him more for if you guys are interested in those type of things. So without further ado, go ahead and unmute my guy, Derek. You go ahead and introduce yourself to the peoples real quick.
Peace and high vibes, y'all. Peace and high vibes, man. I'm feeling the same way today, CJ. You played the perfect song. I promise you, you played the perfect song. I've been feeling amazing energetically all day today. I had a great morning. Sorry, I had a great rising, right? I just want to say I'm grateful for the day. We got a full moon in Libra. Full moon in Libra promotes relationships and partnerships. I just met a couple people today on the call. I like where I see the future going. They didn't put me on information. That's what I'm here to do for y'all. All right, I'm here to put y'all on to some new information as well. If you was on the call yesterday, you saw the frequency chart, I guess you can call it, that Nicolette has showed. I'm gonna dive a little deeper into that today.
Bet. And then next, my second speaker that I definitely want to introduce to you guys. Now, this is an individual that, I definitely want y'all to, definitely praise as he hops on the call. I know a lot of people from his camp actually hopped on today. But for those of you guys that are inside MBW and have not been able to, tap into the early rising calls where we're trading in the rising, catching Nas 100. I want y'all to understand this individual is somebody that's been able to not only enlighten me on information on how to better myself, but he's been able to also enlighten a community of his own set of individuals that he's been able to help guide, help them, create income for themselves. So I'll be honest, this is an individual that you guys should definitely have your notes out for. He's somebody that is continuing to grow. And if you are around him enough, I promise you're going to grow as well. If you're paying attention to what he's saying, he's actually somebody that's been able to, put together multiple camps of people that have been able to grow spiritually, mentally, and most of all, also financially too. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guy, Andre. Make sure y'all drop the 777s in the chat for my guy, Andre, man, hopping on the call for the first time. Let's get it.
How y'all doing, family? Peace, love, and light. I'm excited to talk to y'all today. Obviously, I got a lot of information to share, and I'm sure Derek does as well. And kind of like he was saying, we're going to build upon the stuff that we talked about yesterday. I definitely like the flow of these conversations because by us building in order, it actually allows us to build an understanding to where we can apply this information to our everyday life. So, um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm excited.
Let's get it. So, Andre, you could kind of you really could kind of start things off. I know you had a lot of things that you wanted to talk about, and then Derek definitely wanted to pick up off that. So let me go ahead and unmute you one more time. Um, and yeah, you could kind of start talking about everything that you want to get into, just to kind of piggyback off yesterday's call. And for those of y'all that don't know, yesterday we had Wise Woman Wednesday. So we had these conversations amongst, the collective here as, us coming together, but we also have, our lady bosses, our divine feminine women that also speak on Wednesday as well. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely tap in. But to pick up from yesterday, man, go ahead and take off and do, talk about what you got to talk about today.
Okay, cool. So, some of the stuff that we were discussing yesterday was meditation, stuff along those lines. And I really want to harp on that because I know a lot of people are trying to figure out what's the proper way to meditate and all of that stuff. So, um, let me start off here. I'm turning this on my screen. Let y'all know. So I'm gonna give a breakdown pretty much on what we're trying to do with our meditation. So we have to understand that this is the order in which our chakras are in alignment. And this is starting from our root all the way down to our crown, which is the top of our head. Okay, so now understanding that our root chakra is our foundation. This is what we walk on this planet with. So understanding that a lot of people are very much stuck down here, a lot like that chart sheet y'all seen. Matter of fact, let me see if I could pull that up too. Give me 2 seconds. See if she sent it to me. Put you something in here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Perfect. Perfect. And then what's up for y'all? Let me know if you guys can see my screen. So I'm gonna correlate these two things for y'all. So pretty much what she went over was how we stay in lower frequencies, right? And understanding that this color coding here for this chart is the exact same for our chakras, right? So most of us exist within this third dimension, okay, which means most of us are stuck in our root chakras. And in order for us to get over our root chakras, we have to let go of the things that are holding us back within there. So that means lust, hatred, envy, all of those things. Right now, understanding that most of us struggle primarily with the lust and the hatred aspect of it. So one way to actually ascend consciously is by going on sex fasts and stuff along those lines. So for the men doing semen retention, and even for the women going an extended period of time without releasing their sexual energy, that stuff will start to force it up to your pineal gland as long as you continue to do a meditation. Now, one thing I want to say is when we meditate, a lot of us are not bringing in pranayama. So I'm going to break down what pranayama is to y'all before we continue on. Pranayama, give y'all the definition. So pranayama is the air that we breathe, every day. Everything has pranayama. 2 seconds. There we go. Okay, so pranayama is the practice of breathing regulation, right? So when we do stuff called like fire breaths, or we go in our nose and out of our mouth, we are taking in all of the air particles that exist and channeling up to that to our third eye, which is our pineal gland, right? So a lot of us don't actually know that in order for us to properly absorb that pranayama, we have to lock our root chakra, and we also have to lock our crown chakra too. So pretty much what you would want to do is, that muscle that you guys use when you use the bathroom and stuff like that, or when you're trying to hold in your urine and stuff along those lines, that's a whole muscle at the bottom. Okay, so now some people call it a G spot or the gooch, whatever name you would want to put to it. But when you breathe in that air and you squeeze that simultaneously as you're breathing in that air, you're forcing that that root chakra to channel up. So now we have to understand that our chakras is like the serpents. So when we look at the medical symbol and stuff like that, we see the two snakes going up the side. That is actually what our Kundalini energy represents, right? So what we want to do is we want to make that energy rise up to our third eye. And once we get to the third eye and it's unlocking, now we get a halo on the top of our head. And that halo is talking about Christ consciousness, right? So the more that we continue to squeeze that muscle and force that energy and that air going up our body, the more we'll actually begin to charge up our third eye. Now, what I would encourage everybody to do is when you start to meditate, focus on your energy, like your energy points, meaning that focus on a lot of energy in your feet, right? So that's our root chakra. So when you start your meditation and you're breathing in, try to feel all the energy in your root chakra, right? Now, once you feel like you can feel the energy in your feet channeling and it feels like you have a bunch of roots going out through your feet into the ground, the next step is you want to envision that energy traveling up to your sacral chakra, which is where we actually begin to use that muscle. Once we start using that muscle, and now you feel the energy in your sacral chakra, which is right below like your abdominal muscles and stuff like that, you want to move on to the solar plexus. Now, our solar plexus is actually our life force. This is where we get our energy from. So a lot of people that aren't vibrating high or aren't healthy or anything along those lines, that's because their solar plexus is out of alignment. So whether that's because we have parasites in our body, which means we need to do a fast or some type of something along those lines, a parasite cleanse, whether it's if we're not doing a lot of ab workouts. I know a lot of us are starting to get into that health, wealth, and fitness, which that's one of the chats in the Discord. But it's very, very important for us to focus on our abs because that's actually where we get our energy to carry out our tasks throughout the day. Now, once you focus on that energy circling in your solar plexus, you want to charge that up to your heart chakra. Once you get to the heart chakra, which we talked about yesterday, that's the gateway to Christ consciousness. So we cannot skip from our heart chakra and go straight to our third eye. The only other way to do that is by using psychedelics, which a lot of people do. They either use psychedelics or some people go and try to do heroin and stuff like that. So I don't know if I've ever seen any crackheads looking around in space or look like they fighting ghosts going crazy. That's pretty much, they skipped this step. They skipped the heart chakra. So now that their third eye is wide open, they're seeing a lot of demons and other entities in the spiritual plane. So they don't actually know how to process that information. Okay, so by unlocking our heart chakra, which means that we have to lead with love in every aspect, we can now move on to our throat chakra, which we know that 95% of the population, especially in America, our throat chakra is completely closed. The freedom of speech is not here. Anytime we try to speak our minds, speak our feelings, people shut us down. They make it feel like we don't know what we're talking about, whatever it is. So we need to understand that our power is in our throat because our throat is our vibrations. So this is the fastest way to deliver energy towards people outside of our thoughts, right? So understanding that wisdom organized reveals dark spaces. So I'm going to pull up a Google Sheet for that, pull up a Google Doc, because I'm going to type that out for y'all. Hold on. Type that out for y'all because I feel like this is something that would be better for y'all to see visually. Okay, so we have words, right? Make this in bold. Words. Okay, so what that means is wisdom, wisdom, organized, reveals, dark, spaces. So pretty much when we start to organize our wisdom, we are now getting clarity or seeing the light within what we are currently witnessing with our two eyes. Okay, so now wisdom is the wise words spoken by the wise man. And the only way that we can get wisdom is by applying our knowledge. So a lot of us read a lot of books and a lot of us watch a lot of podcasts and we take all these notes even down to us in the Discord. We're taking all this information in the Discord, which we're building upon our knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But the only way we can actually get to step number 2, which is wisdom, we have to start to apply the knowledge. So your wisdom is built upon actually trying to experience certain things, right? So now understanding how that correlates to our chakras, we cannot skip the wisdom of the heart chakra. Our heart chakra is our wisdom. Okay, so this is telling us how to deal with individuals, situations, and with how to make the proper decision in specific situations like that. This is also dealing with the karma. So understanding that when we are not leading with the greatest and highest intention through our heart, we will not be able to actually open up our third eye, right? So a lot of people who skip that step, like I said, go insane. Now our throat chakra is what we can use to begin to heal people. Okay, so now if I said that you're very bright, you're highly intelligent, you be God, you be a goddess. Now I'm speaking high vibrations to your essence. Okay, so now that I'm leading with love and that's manifesting with my throat chakra, now my third eye can start to tap in. Okay, so now when we're breathing in all that energy, focusing on unlocking our heart and our throat chakra, we can actually tap our third eye like this during the meditation. So imagine putting a pickaxe to your third eye. And all you got to do is, and you can literally tell yourself to wake up. That voice that's inside of your head that be talking to yourself, like we were talking about yesterday, that's your higher self. So what we need to understand is that we're actually in the room with our higher selves all the time. It's not some mysterious thing. That voice, like I want everybody to say Superwoman if you're a woman and say Superman in your head. And that voice that you hear is your actual higher self. So what you need to be able to do is decipher that voice from everybody else's voices. And the easiest way to actually find that voice is in times where nobody else is actually awake. This is why it's important that we get up early in the rising, because 99% of the population gets up after 9 o'clock. This is why we work something called the 9 to 5. You get what I'm saying? So now understanding by us beating everybody in that time gap and we decide to meditate, we can focus on that inner voice. We can focus on that peace, that love, that light that we're trying to receive. Now, once we get to the third eye, this is when we actually begin to receive downloads. So now a lot of people get downloads all the time. For example, high level thoughts, or when you guys are using psychedelics like marijuana and you start saying, oh, he's just high, he's just talking high. No, he's actually tapped into a higher dimension where he's receiving information. So the best thing for us to do is, one, write down those downloads, because that'll help us be able to revisit it. Because a lot of the times our downloads is showing us either the past, the present, or the future. Okay, so we have to understand that all 3 of those timelines exist simultaneously. So like literally the last thing I just said was now the past, and what I'm currently saying is the present, but the future is what I just said now. You get what I'm saying? So now understanding that if we can begin to recognize those different dimensions at the same time using our third eye, we will tap into something called ultra instinct. And pretty much what that means is your mind, your body, and your soul is connected in one, and you are tapping into being a being of light. And to be a being of light, that means you are activating something called your crown chakra. So I have dreads, which is our antennas, right? Now, our dreads is what we use to actually get the information from the sun. Okay, so not only do we use our 2 eyes, which is called sun gazing, but we also use our antennas to receive information as well. Our antennas are the fastest way to receive information from the sun. So when we see people like pictures of Jesus and he has that halo above his head, that's because he is a being of light. He is activating his body to now become a crystal. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I believe that yesterday they were mentioning how our bodies are quite literally crystals. And when we unlock those things, we can actually magnetize ourselves. So let me ask y'all this. Have y'all ever made like crystal grids or anything like that? I want to see if the chat knows anything about that stuff before I continue. Okay, so, oh, somebody has made crystal grids. Okay, cool. So now understanding that a crystal grid, which I'll explain it for those that don't know what it is, but crystal grids is pretty much where, for example, if we had something like hematite and obsidian, maybe some pyrite, stuff like that, we can put our crystal, hold on, crystal grids. We can put our crystals in different formations like this. So this is called the flower of life. Okay, so everything has this same occurring sequence, which is the Fibonacci sequence. All right, now when we create that energy grid by aligning our crystals in specific points, we are now creating a portal real time of this energy, right? So it's important for us to have crystals just around, because what that'll do is that'll alter the frequency of your living space just in general. Right now, when we organize these crystals, it amplifies each of them as an individual. So look at it a lot like a machine, or we can say a car engine for that matter. You'll have a gear, you'll have the pistons and the rods, right? And all those mechanisms are individual pieces, but together it builds the engine of this car, which makes it run. So this is the same thing with our crystals. Okay, so now understanding that, how that correlates to us, let's just say me, CJ, and Derek decided to have a group meditation. And now we're sitting here in a triangle having this group meditation. We could be holding hands. Now, as we raise that energy up to our pineal gland and we become beings of light, we are now becoming the same thing as this grid right here. You understand what I'm saying? Now that's creating an energy point where we can now open up portals together if we want to go to different dimensions. We can now receive different types of downloads. We can even go into the spiritual realm together and have a full-blown conversation, yet we're not saying anything. That's actually something I experienced myself. So, like, now let me slow down for a second. Come talking about it. So, pretty much once we get to our crown chakra, we will begin to tap into our higher abilities, stuff along those lines. So, like we were talking about being clairvoyant and all of that stuff. These are things that we do from time to time. And ultimately, the end goal is to be able to experience that level of consciousness at all times. So obviously, it's a work in progress. We're not necessarily going to be in the 12th dimension at all times, especially not in the beginning, but over time, we will begin to remain there. Okay, so we can use those abilities to do things like Derek did. I think, Derek, I believe you said that you can you read people based off of their zodiac signs and stuff along those lines. And I know my lady was talking about tarot cards and stuff like that. We also can do that just by using our crown chakra. We can look, listen, observe at everybody, and just their actions and the words that they're speaking and the way they're sending energy to us, we can now understand what chakra is imbalanced. Okay, so now I could be talking to somebody and they could be saying that, they love to go skiing. But as they're saying that, I feel the vibration of those words. And then I'm looking at their body movements, and they might start scratching their face a lot, or they might start twiddling their thumbs a lot, or they might look away from me from a split second. So then I go and ask you, well, what did you experience during skiing that you claim that you love it? And they're like, well, this is more so me trying to have a positive outlook on it, because maybe I fell down and I scratched my knee. It's like, yeah, I kind of felt that. Or you might be looking at somebody and you can tell they're very closed off with their energy. They might not say too much. They might be very, very quiet. Well, were you beaten as a child? Were you told to shut up all the time? Whatever it is, those things will be a reflection of your throat chakra being closed. You understand what I'm saying? Exactly. Quite literally soul gazing. So when people say that, a lot of people that I encounter, they look at me and they say that it's like you're looking into my soul or you're piercing my soul, but I quite literally am. I don't lose eye contact, and I feel the energy that they're giving off based upon what they're saying and what the frequency that they're maintaining relative to what they're saying. If that's not in alignment, I know that there's imbalance in that area. Okay, so now to the flip side to that, I want to tie this to the Merkaba, because the Merkaba also aligns with our chakras. So the Merkaba is this symbol right here. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points or 6 triangles on this one symbol. Okay, so now understanding that when we look at 6 from a mathematical standpoint, 6 actually stands for equality. Okay, so now I'm gonna say this: get this book for the future. Next time we have a conscious call, I would appreciate it if everybody has this book. I've been doing that without even knowing. Exactly, Derek. So a lot of us already read people and read the room without even knowing. Do you get what I'm saying? So what's the book called? It's called Supreme Lessons. Oh no. Supreme Lessons of the Gods and Earths. Okay, so it's this yellow book right here. Y'all can get it on eBay. It's about equality. Why do they demonize the number 6 if it's about equality? I'm gonna ask you this. Have you noticed that in the melanated community, anything that's a part of our culture, they demonize? everything that they do everything that's our tradition and our values, they demonize it. Whether it's our skin color, whether it's our hair, whether it's our hair type, whether it's our practices in terms of whether it's doing voodoo or anything of those lines, they all demonize it. You understand what I'm saying? When truth be told, all of those things is our essence. And we use those things to actually heal the planet, not to do harm to anybody. So when we sit there and say the 666 is the mark of the beast, the 666 is actually talking about 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, which is actually what carbon is made out of. And people don't know that. So quite literally, when you look at all these melanated individuals and we have that neuromelanin, which is the carbon, we stand for 666. So they quite literally say that we are the devil. That's their depiction on us. But really, when you get 666, which equals 18, okay, and you break that down from the mathematical standpoint, which I want to say this, a lot of us weren't taught how to do math right. So I'm going to tie this back to school, but we were taught math, we were taught multiplication, division, adding, and subtraction, but we were not taught how to actually apply that to our lives. So they gave us a bunch of information and said, hey, you're going to need this for work one day. They said you might need this in a business career that you decide. But really, all of that is supposed to tie back to esoteric knowledge, because the matrix that we live in is quite literally signs, symbols, and numbers. That's it. And vibrations. Signs, symbols, numbers, and vibrations. That's it. That's actually this third dimensional plane. If you want to alter its frequency, you have to be well-rounded in all those things. Okay, so now understanding that when we do math, it's not for an example, 18 plus 20 is 38. What that is it's 18 plus 20, which is 38, but now you have 3 plus 8, which that goes and that equals 11. Now you have 1 plus 1, which equals 2. So now I'm breaking everything down to a finite, to a foundational standpoint. Do you understand what I'm saying? And let me type this up. That way I can make this make sense for y'all rather than just me talking about it. I think that'll be a little better. So let's just say we had 18, like I said, plus 20, right? We all understand that this equals 38. But we don't know what to actually do next with this number. This is as far as they taught us to go. But truth be told, we need to get to the purest essence of everything in order to have an understanding of it. Okay, so now we do 3 plus 8. Well, that equals 11. Well, now what do we do with 11? We need to get that to its purest single-digit numerical value. So now we do 1 plus 1, which equals 2. Okay, so now 2 is the second number in the numeric system. And I want to tie that back to this, what I said here. When we get this book right here, the second degree in a daily mathematics stands for wisdom. Okay, so in here it says, wisdom is the wise words spoken by a wise man. Wisdom is the manifestation of the foundation, which is the knowledge. Okay, so it's quite literally that the wisdom that we have is the physical manifestation of the knowledge that we have acquired. So now when I look at 18 plus 20, I don't see 38. I see 2, which stands for wisdom. So now I could be walking on the street and I can see house number 18. And then the next number I go to, I see house number 20. Well, now if I'm sitting here having a conversation upon something that I now understand, or now I came into a complete understanding of it, I should say, I can say, oh, I just built some wisdom. And that 18 plus 20 was my confirmation for this is some wisdom I have now acquired. So we quite literally start to peep the synchronizations with our everyday life. For an example, we can use angel numbers for a matter. We say 333 or 222, which that's fine. They have a foundational meaning, right? Let me look up the meaning of 333 for you guys. So the angel number 333 encourages a set plan into action, and to let your personal strength be the guide to trust yourself and put thought into your choices. Well, now from a numerical system, I don't have 333. I have 3 plus 3 plus 3, right? Which equals 9. So now tying it back to this definition that we just found on 333, I'm going to tell you what 9 means actually. So 9 stands for born. Born is to bring into existence, to be brought forth to supreme life. To be born is to bring forth both mentally as well as physically. So now understanding every time we see 333, we are borning something into existence in a supreme divine manner. This is why this is a divination number, right? So understanding that anytime you see 333, that means something was just brought into the physical plane. Whether it's a thought, whether it's hey, you said you need $20 and then you found $20 on the floor and then 333 pops up, whether it's you're having a conversation on what's the next step that you need to take. Me and CJ can be having business conversations, for an example, right? And we can say, yo, I think this is the better route to go for the group. And then we see 333 pop up. Oh yeah, that's what we need to born into existence. Confirmation. You get what I'm saying? So like, same thing with 222. It's not that, it's actually 2 plus 2 plus 2. So no numbers actually exist above 10. Okay, so 1 through 10, well, let me say this. 1 through 9 is a completed cycle of life. Okay, so any number after that, it's actually 1, 8, 2, 0, 3, 8, 1, 1, not 18, not 20, not 38, because when we look at that, we can't actually apply it to our lives. Can this happen internally with your own thoughts, then seen in reality? Yes, exactly. It can, 100%. So like even down to like, for example, I don't know if any of y'all have gotten any meditations and y'all seen numbers pop up in your head, or you've heard a voice saying, for example, the number 8240. You might need to go and play that on the lotto. But when you look at 8240 and you say, okay, well, what does that mean with the mathematics? How do I correlate that? So we say 8240. Well, now we're looking at 14 with this. So we have 8 plus 2 plus 4 plus 0, right? And that will equal 14. But when we get 14, we have 1 plus 4, which equals 5. So now when we talk about the number 5, that stands for power or refinement. Power is to manifest the truth, thus placing yourself into a state of awareness. So we were talking about yesterday, what is Christ consciousness, right? What is this crown chakra or this third eye that we're trying to unlock? That is our power or refinement. So we are trying to unlock our inner power. Notice how we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chakras. So our 5th chakra up is our throat chakra. So our power comes from our voice. This is why they say words are power. This is why I say, they say God made dirt, dirt don't hurt, but words can never help. Words can never hurt me, or something along those lines. That's not an accurate statement. So when we actually look at it, and I'll tie this back to our body for an example, we have 75% water in our body. Okay, so now, matter of fact, I think it would be better if I show y'all this YouTube video. Give me 2 seconds. Let me stop sharing my screen. This is what happens when you speak high frequencies to water. Okay. So now let me see. Get my screen back. There we go. Okay, cool. It's the one that we did here.
This next series of photographs are the work of Japanese researcher Mr. Masaru Emoto from his book, The Message from Water. Mr. Emoto's work provides factual evidence that human vibrational energy, thoughts, words, ideas, and music affect the molecular structure of water. Please remember that water comprises over 70% of a mature human body and covers the same amount on our planet. Water is the very source of all life. This photo shows the beautifully formed geometric design of the Yushi Spring water. This next photo is from the Shimanto River, the last clean spring in Japan. Notice the extraordinary geometric forms. The fact that the molecular structure of water can be affected by our consciousness, our intent, and our sounds is extremely important. This photo is from the Mount Cook Glacier in New Zealand. Mr. Emoto has been visually documenting these molecular changes in water by means of his photographic techniques. He freezes droplets of water, then examines them under a dark field microscope that has photographic capabilities. His work clearly demonstrates the diversity of the molecular structure of water and the effects of the environment upon the structure of the water. This photo is from the fountain in Lourdes, France. This photo is from contaminated water from the Yodo River in Japan. In this photo, we can compare the contaminated water with clean stream water. Look at the difference. Mr. Emoto decided to see what effects music would have upon the structure of water. He placed distilled water between two speakers for several hours while playing different music and then photographing the crystals that formed after the water was frozen. This photo is of water being exposed to Beethoven's Pastorale. This photo is the effect of Bach's air for the G string on the water. This photo is water exposed to Chopin's Farewell Song. This next photo is water being exposed and affected to music that was designed for healing. This photo is of water being exposed to the Kawachi folk dance. This photo shows the effect of heavy metal music upon the water. Here now we can compare the effects of healing versus heavy metal music and what happens to the water molecules. Mr. Emoto decided to see how thoughts and words affected the formation of untreated distilled water crystals by typing words onto paper and then taping this paper onto glass bottles overnight. This photo shows the effects of the words, "Thank you." This next photo shows the effects of the words, "love" and "appreciation." This photo shows the effects of the words, "You make me sick, I will kill you." Here we can compare the effects of "thank you" with the "you make me sick, I will kill you." Very, very different geometric forms being incurred through the intention. Now, this photo is of a very polluted and toxic water from the Fujiwara Dam. Here now is the same water from the Fujiwara Dam after a Buddhist monk had offered a prayer over it. Prayer, that sound coupled with intention, seems to have an extraordinary ability of restoring water to its natural, harmonious, geometric symmetry. And in this photo, we can compare toxic water and then the effects of praying over the water.
Okay, so hold on. So now understanding that for that matter, we have to be careful on the words that we say to people because that will literally affect the molecular structure of the water that exists in their body. So words quite literally are power, and it will either raise somebody's frequency or lower somebody's frequency. So this is why we have to organize our wisdom to reveal the dark spaces to everybody. Now, understanding that number I just gave, which was 5, correlating that back to the 5th chakra, which is our 5, this means our 3rd chakra is where our power comes from. Okay, so our words are quite literally our power, right? Now, obviously, all of this is going to make more sense when y'all can actually see the book, but Matter of fact, I might be able to pull up a PDF. Let me see. See if I can pull up a PDF for y'all. Lessons. Okay, here, so we have power of refinement. Power or refinement. Power is the truth. Truth being the origin. Hold on. No, that's not the definition. Let me see here. If I can find free PDF. Mm. Hmm. Okay, so I might not be able to find a PDF on it. Alphabet, 12 rules. Power, refinement, power is the truth, origin, means refinement. Truth, so, again, truth, power, as a I mean, yeah, I like this definition too, honestly. We can run with this. Power is the truth. Truth is the origin. Truth in origin is the only means of refinement, right? So the only way we can refine ourselves or refine our power is by finding the truth. Okay, so now understanding that true refinement is to go according to the truth, right? So now when we are refining, we are no longer deciding to go against what we know to be fact. So we said a lot of people actually know what they're supposed to be doing, right? They might hear that voice that says they need to turn left and they decide to turn right anyways. They're denying the truth in which their higher self gave to them. So at that point, they're grafting themselves or not refining the power that they know to exist. And the more you deny your higher self, the further away you actually get from it. So it's quite literally whatever that voice tells you to do, you need to go and do it as long as it's moving with the greatest good of all. Let me see what the chat's talking about. Don't throw empty words. It's more powerful if you have emotion behind it. Exactly. Yeah. Like take deep breaths or something beforehand. Right. So how do we create a filter? I think that's more so what Tiffany's talking about. How do we create a filter in order to stop us from saying mal things to people, right? So everybody has something a little bit different. Some people pause. I actually like to do this. So let me show y'all. I like to do this and I center myself. I line this up, forming a 6 to my heart chakra. And I line this up with my pineal gland and my crown chakra. And I go, and I sit there and I align my vessel before I start speaking. So a lot of us don't give people time to formulate what they want to say. We don't give them the time to organize their wisdom to reveal the dark spaces to us, or what the dark spaces that we have within ourselves, matter of fact. One more time for me, please. So when we go and do this, and we take a second before we respond to somebody, that actually lets us organize the wisdom that we have within our brain. Okay, so now understanding that we live in a society where we're taught that we need to respond to somebody right away. Or why didn't you text me back? Or I just asked you a question. Why didn't you give me an answer? But sometimes we need time to think about what wisdom we need to organize to reveal the dark spaces to this person. Right. We rush to respond and we actually say stuff that we don't mean to say. So let's just say you're having an argument with your significant other. How do you properly transmute that? Rather than responding so fast or getting upset to that one thing that this individual said, you take some time to think about it. And then you give a proper response. Hold on. I made a chain toker, overlay and obsidian to help filter my responses. Yeah, that's a good thing, Lex. We can definitely wear crystals. Sodalite is a good crystal to help open up your throat chakra. That's a good way to also align yourself with leading with your heart too. You can pair up a soda light with rose quartz. You get what I'm saying? And that combination of the two will alter your frequency to where your throat chakra will be unlocked and your heart chakra will be unlocked simultaneously. So like a lot of us, we need to begin to start wearing crystals and purchasing crystals and stuff like that, because that will aid us with unlocking these things. Don't react, instant, heal the moment. Respond, take time to formulate the proper thought. Exactly. So we're too quick to respond to things, and sometimes we say things that we don't actually mean, or we can't properly convey our message. So you ever hear somebody say, that's not really what I meant to say, and they reiterate themselves or they correct themselves. That's because they didn't take the time to actually think about what they were trying to say, what message they were actually trying to convey to people to build upon the understanding based off of what they understand, or raise them to their equality, level 6, right? So now when we look back at our chakras, which I'll go back to the safari for a second, our sixth chakra, hold on, our sixth chakra is our third eye. So this is the equality. So we equalize ourselves by opening up our third eye. And 3 plus 6 is 9, which is born. So when we unlock our third eye, we are also unlocking our sixth chakra, which means we are now born into Christ consciousness. We are brought forth into supreme life or supreme divine culture, right? So when we talk about the Nation of Islam, which is the 5% nation, that's like people like the Wu-Tang Clan and all of those folks, Islam actually stands for I, self, Lord, and Master. So it's understanding that yourself is the Lord and Master of all sciences of reality. So when we talk about God, it's not this mysterious thing that's in space. It can be seen and heard everywhere. When we talk about the Merkaba, and we have the 6 points, this is what God represents in the Nation of Islam. So this Merkaba represents the equality of God. So now that the Nation of Islam saying that I, self, Lord, and Master, we often see the Merkaba represent a person, or we see these demonic artists where you'll see a matter of fact. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. Artists representing. That right. If I can find this picture. Let me see here. Okay, so I'll see if I can find a picture, and I'll send it in the chat if anything. But so I don't want to necessarily stop the flow. So pretty much, we see a lot of these artists like Cardi B, Offset, and they'll take a picture where the woman will be upside down, and he'll be holding her legs, and her feet will be on the floor, and as her hands are on the, I'm sorry, his feet will be on the floor, and he'll be holding her legs with his hands, and her hands will be on the floor. That's forming a Merkaba with their body. So we understand that they're creating that same symbol that we just seen here, but we understand that they go and do satanic rituals with that, or they cover their one eye as a sign for them being Satanists. So now understanding that these signs and symbols are spells, right? So I'll break it down like this. I'm gonna pull up Insomnia cookies. Some of y'all know about that. Insomnia cookies. This logo right here is the crescent moon with 3 stars, and it says Insomnia. So now that crescent moon is the same thing that we also see in Islamic culture. Crescent moon, Islam. This right here. So this is how they trap us with these logos. McDonald's has a meaning too. Okay, so this right here is a spell for insomnia. What's the definition of insomnia? Let's see here. Insomnia is a common sleep disorder. So pretty much they're saying when you eat this sugary ass cookie, excuse my language, but this sugary ass cookie, you're not going to be able to sleep. And they're spelling that with the crescent moon. And they put 3 stars. So what does the third number in the daily mathematics mean? It's understanding. Understanding is the best part of living mathematics. It is to see with the third eye, which is the mind. It is also a picture one draws from knowledge and wisdom. So once we get our knowledge and our wisdom, and we put those 2 things together, or we do 2 + 1, that equals 3, which is our understanding. So now we have built upon an understanding of what this whole entire thing with this word and this crescent moon means by putting these 3 stars here. So we have an understanding of us having insomnia. So when you eat this cookie, you're not going to be able to sleep. You quite literally will begin to not be able to sleep. That's a spell that they cast on us. So we have to understand that this system that we live in, they understand esoteric knowledge. They understand how to work with the energy of the planet. And they got that information from all these indigenous people. So quite literally, us being Masons, we were all Masons at one point. We were all high priestess. We all practiced magic at one point. They took that knowledge that we had and they started to use it against us. So we are quite literally enslaved by our own information and our own understanding of how the world works relative to the universe and ourselves. Okay, so understanding that that's the same way we need to free ourselves. So if I go and put my crystals in a Merkaba, I can have a crystal here, I can have a crystal here at all 6 points, and then I can put a focal point in the middle, which is what all these crystals feed off of. Now I just created a portal of this frequency. Now imagine if I'm sitting there playing 963 hertz, meditating next to this crystal grid I just created. You're going to get a lot of charged up energy. So you're going to start to receive a lot of downloads. You're going to find a lot of peace, love, and light. You're going to be able to unlock your chakras, which means that you'll become more in a homeostasis. Let me see what the chat's saying, because I was saying quite a bit of stuff. Hold on. 2 seconds. Which makes me think of being stuck in the sacral chakra. Right. Damn, them cookies would be bust. Nah, listen, I'm not gonna lie, them insomnia cookies are good. They taste good, but it's not good for us. And at the end of the day, we cannot deny the truth that we see. We can't deny the truth that we see. So I think I said something like this to my mentorship earlier, but let me pull that up. They were talking about a chart pattern, and he was like, he wished he would have took the setup. And he said, should I have re-entered the trade? I said, if you see it, take it. Don't deny the truth that you see. That'll make you equal to an insane person that can't see at all. So anytime you deny the truth that you have seen, you deny your knowledge, wisdom, and understanding based upon what you're looking at with your 2 eyes and your third eye, you're literally just equivalent to the individual that can't see anything and is insane, that walks around not questioning anything about their existence relative to anybody else's. We can do one-on-ones at some point. I think that will be important for all of us to be able to create study groups and stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm gonna do a one-on-one for thousands of people, but if we wanted to have organized groups like this, where there's a group of 10 or 20 of us doing a group meditation, that's fine. You get what I'm saying? Playing some frequencies or guided meditations. Is that all making sense? I want to make sure I'm not like overloading y'all.
Yeah, I wanted to point out a question that someone did ask that I think you missed. So
Okay.
as we was talking about the 7 chakras, someone did ask how do you know when your chakra actually is open? Like if you was to go through them.
So I'll explain it to you like this. You'll stop experiencing pain in that area. Or anytime you think about something that's relative to that chakra, for an example, if somebody if somebody struggles to show affection towards their significant other on a consistent basis, that means that their sacral chakra and their heart chakra is blocked. So how do they know that it's unlocked? They would begin doing those things more naturally. It's not something that we have to force. You understand what I'm saying? You quite literally will start to feel your energy flow more. So a lot of people aren't aren't in tune to be able to identify when their bodies are not in balance. But typically, like if you have knee pain or if you have foot aches or you have back aches, right? What if your back hurts a lot? What part of your back? Because that'll tell a lot. Lower and hind. So that means that your sacral and root chakra, that means that your sacral chakra and your heart chakra is blocked. You should try doing back bridges. Headaches, that means your crown chakra is unsettled. When you have a headache, that means your temple is unsettled. So you need to relax your mind. You should take some lavender or chamomile. Those are two herbs that help with headaches. Those are two herbs that also help you unlock your Christ consciousness. If your neck, that means your throat chakra is blocked. When you got neck pain. If your hips are tight, that means you have experienced a lot of trauma in your hips. You need to unlock your hips, get your sacral chakra right. A lot of people who actually start stretching out their groin, they get more sexual energy. So a lot of men that are experiencing erectile dysfunction or women that are never ready to go and do anything along those lines is typically because they're experiencing hip pain or their groins are tight. They have a lot of trauma in those areas. Shoulder pain and headaches for real. Yeah, a lot of people experience shoulder pain and headaches that I've come across. But we have to understand that our throat chakra and our head chakra have been clouded over time. We've been taught that we don't know anything, which is why we overthink, or our crown chakra is blocked. And we are taught that we are saying a lot of dumb stuff that are inaccurate. Can you talk about lust? What about lust? Lust to me is a very fine line, right? So I think that lust is more so the admiration of somebody's physique and a yearning for somebody's physique. And that to me is what lust is. There's a difference between being sensual and sexual, right? So we often mix up those two things. Okay, so for an example, for a man, because this is more common in men than women, at least in modern times, for a man to be throwing himself on top of a woman, he is being lustful. That means he is attracted to her beauty. He is not trying to be sensual to her. He just cares about what she has to offer him. So understanding that for us to get out of that and see the goddess within these women, we have to raise above our root chakra. So semen retentions are very important. If a man cannot do a semen retention, he should not be with a woman. It's that simple. There's no way he can actually value her if he can't be around her without trying to do something with her. Lust is more than physical. Love is more spiritual energy. Hold on, let me see something. Lust isn't just a person, though, and what my experience have taught me. No, lust isn't just a person. Lust isn't just with a person, though. Yeah, sometimes you can lust over gold or like money. So lust falls in the same category of greed, if I'm being honest. So a lot of us are greedy, whether that's for food, whether that's for clothing, whether that's for shelter, whether that's for peace, love, or happiness, whether if that's for financial abundance. A lot of us are greedy. Whether that's for an abundance of sex, that's all greed. So lust falls under that greed category. And that greed category relative to our chakras, our heart, we're yearning for more. We're yearning for more love. So people that are lustful, they're yearning for more love, but they're not doing it in the right way. I be trying to teach my girl this. She begged me. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Cause there's some more questions. The same way you lust over a person, you can lust over food and item. Exactly. Yeah. Desire. It's not necessarily that we can't desire anything, but it has to be for the greatest good of all. There's nothing wrong with desiring something. What is the difference between greed and abundance? Greed is more so that you're chasing it. So I have a saying that if you're chasing money, that means the money's running away from you. Why are you chasing money? It shouldn't be running away from you. You're supposed to be attracting it, not chasing it. So a lot of us try to solve our physical hardships by doing more. So rather than, oh, I might not be able to pay my bill this month, they go and get another job. That's not really your solution. You need to attract more money. That's all. How do you help somebody that wants to know how to meditate, but listen to low vibration music and sleeps a lot? Ooh, that's interesting. So now this is something that me and CJ were discussing, I think the first time. This was a few weeks ago, honestly, and we were talking about how music is vibration. A lot of us listen to a lot of negative music. Like, for example, Lil Uzi Vert talking about he got demons in his brain. You got Cardi B talking about she sucked the soul out of people. People don't really realize what these artists are saying. Like it's very, very interesting. It's very interesting. And understanding that our subconscious mind is always listening. It is always listening. So, like, I want you to say, if you're sitting here trying to educate somebody on how to meditate and raise their frequency, even though they're listening to low vibrational music, they might not comprehend that message in the moment, but just know that their higher self and their subconscious mind is always listening to you. So they'll come around eventually, as long as you're organizing your wisdom to reveal the dark spaces within themselves. As long as you're speaking the right words. Yeah, definitely the food too. The food is honestly, I think the food is the easiest way to start to unlock our third eye. But a lot of us eat a bunch of meat and dairy, and that doesn't actually benefit us, especially as melanated beings. It's interesting because studies show that dairy and meat for melanated people actually weakens their bones. It actually weakens their bones, whereas milk helps the Caucasian man and woman make their bones stronger. Herbs make our bones stronger. Fruits and vegetables make our bones stronger. Truth be told, we're all supposed to be on a fruit diet. That's actually how we hydrate ourselves. Water, H2O, is poisonous for us, no matter how good of a water you're drinking. I'll explain it to you like this. Would you ever go and eat rusted iron? Like, I would never go, right, H3H320, right, exactly. So I would never go and eat, rusted iron. Understanding that, for example, somebody that's low on iron, that means they're anemic, typically, right? And we understand that 75% of our body is water. So now you're mixing water with iron, just off rip. Now, understanding that us bringing in oxygen into our body is going to begin to poison us. I want to say this too. Oxygen is poisonous to us. We're supposed to be having carbon, not carbon dioxide. That's oxidized carbon, right? You don't go and eat oxidized fruits or oxidized vegetables. That's toxic to our body. Do you get what I'm saying? So anything that's oxidized is poisonous. Not to mention the fluoride, right? Exactly. Hold on, let me scroll back up because there was some more questions. What is the difference? I think I read this. What is the difference between greed and abundance? Greed is you chasing, abundance is you attracting it. How do you help somebody? Okay, I answered that too. I think I answered that one before. What does it do? Oh, okay. Greed is the inability to be content and grateful. Yeah. Anytime you're not content and grateful, you are experiencing greed, right? So I'm so happy and grateful that I just made $300 today. I'm so happy and grateful that I now have a 7-figure job. We all say those things. I think most of us on this call do those affirmations, right? I be happy and grateful for this $300 I just made, because be is an action word. So a lot of us use nouns to describe things. We need to speak with action words because action keeps something in motion. So I don't say I am great or I am intelligent or I am at peace. That's manifesting it for the present moment, but that's not manifesting it for any time in the future. So am is bringing something into the present moment. But when I say I be, not only is that bringing it into my present moment because that's my current existence, but it's further manifesting it. It's putting that thought into action or into motion. And we know that an object in motion stays in motion. That's Newton's first law. Newton's second law is the only way that an object in motion will not be in motion anymore is if an equal or opposite force comes against it. So understanding, like, let's just say we understand that in order to actually hear our thoughts and not hear other people's thoughts, we need to get up early in the rising. So now, let's just say that's our hardest challenge. Some people say, I know I need to get up at 5:30, but I keep getting up at 9 o'clock. Well, the first thing is you need to know why you're getting up at 9 o'clock rather than 5:30. So I want to mention this too. The letter Y is the 25th letter of the alphabet. 2 plus 5 is 7. We understand that the number 7 stands for God. That's why there is the number 7 on the top of this book. Let me stop sharing my screen. That's why there's a number 7 on this book. And it says man, woman, child with the 7 in the middle. So we understand that 7 stands for God. So understand that we cannot truly know who God is unless we ask why. So if you don't use the 25th letter of the alphabet, why, which is a question asked by anyone who wants to know the answer. So if you don't seek any answers, you're never going to actually know who God is. Okay, so, and I want to say 2 plus 5 is wisdom power. So wisdom power, all being born of God. But let me go back to the questions because I don't want to necessarily get too far from that. And I'm gonna let Derek speak soon too, because it's been up here for quite some time. Probably about an hour and 15 minutes actually. Let me see. She definitely said that. I started listening to Aaron May. How do you know if you're speaking the right words when you come from a different culture? Yeah, that's interesting because a lot of cultures have different ways to articulate the same information. Honestly, in order for us to properly organize our wisdom, we have to have our knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of that own person's personal existence. So I say we have to do our 1, 2, 3 to everything, right? So if we don't do our knowledge, which is look, listen, observe, if I'm not observing this person, then there's no way I can formulate my wisdom to build upon their understanding, which is 1, 2, 3. So you have to do the knowledge to everybody and everything around you, which gives you wisdom. Now that you have this wisdom, you can build upon the understanding with anybody. So you'll know that you're speaking the right words if they're actually comprehending what you're saying. You can, I mean, sometimes you can ask them, hey, did that make sense? That's what I do a lot of the times. Like I'll stop talking and I'll say, hey, does this make sense to you? And if it doesn't, I know I'm not organizing my wisdom properly. What diet should we have? A primarily fruit diet, fruit and vegetables. Fruit is to cleanse our body and detoxify us. Vegetables is what we need to build upon our body. So we want to eat fruits in the rising to break our fast. You got to think about it. We sleep for 8 hours. That's a whole intermediate fast right there. You're not eating while you sleep. So why would you go and break your fast with pancakes, eggs, and bacon? You're supposed to break our fast with fruit. That's it. Just fruit. The same way we would go and break a legitimate fast. So we quite literally fast every single day. Let me see here. Western diet is made for the Caucasian man, not for the melanated man. Yeah, 100%. We were fed the improper food from birth. And the food, when I say food, this just isn't food that we intake. This is the knowledge that we are absorbing. This is the knowledge that we are absorbing from the school system as well. That's food too. So that's why I say brain food. Oh, that person's giving me that brain food right now. They're educating me. You get what I'm saying? So like, yeah, the Western diet is not for us at all. The fluoride is crazy, especially up north. It is terrible. You can smell it in the water. What water should we be drinking instead? Drink distilled water. So distilled water has zero properties in it. It has no metals, it has no plastic, it has none of that. Distilled water is complete neutral water. So it's quite literally when you absorb distilled water into your body, it's going to pull all the toxins out. This is why we give distilled water to babies. We trying to keep this baby's vessel completely pure. Think about it. The same diet that baby has is the same diet we need to have. So if we wouldn't give it to our children, we don't need to be taking it ourselves. So if our baby needs to be drinking distilled water, we need to be drinking distilled water. The baby is fresh out the womb. It came fresh out of that triple darkness, that 666, or the melanated queen's womb. Or they also call that same thing space. Hold on. Thinking liquid iron. Hold on. Liquid iron. Yeah. No, we definitely were. You should acknowledge growing current situation. Say it again. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. I think I'll end it off there and I'll let Derek talk because I've been talking for quite some time and he has a lot of information he wants to share too. I don't want to hold y'all too long. So if you want to take the floor, I'll leave it off that.
All right, bet. Man, I would have let you go. I ain't gonna lie. I would have let you keep going, man. You was fucking eating, bro. You was eating. So I want to bring up, wait, can CJ can he share the screen and show the chart from yesterday? It was a lot of questions on this chart. Some people had questions yesterday that didn't get answered, like, why do people operate out of a lower frequency but still have a lot of money? How does this chart translate to business? Those were questions that really popped out at me that I'm eager to answer. Because why do people operate out of lower frequency but still have a lot of money? The answer that I instantly had when you asked that yesterday, Tiffany, was the devil can bless you just as much as God can. People who are operating in those lower frequencies, they're operating out of fear. That's exactly what the devil wants to see. So when you're operating out of fear, fear now becomes your God. Now you'll do anything to serve your God, so you never see that fear. So you never have to face your fears. But we'll get into that.
Is this valid? Or you need me?
You said what?
I said, is this valid or you need me to zoom in more?
I can't even see it.
Nah, hold up.
Yeah, go ahead. Add something to that, Jay.
How about now?
Yeah, I can see it. I wish I could zoom, whatever. Unmute Jay real quick.
So I wanna piggyback off of us talking about the devil. On a serious note, the devil doesn't actually exist. So the devil is no different than this falsified reality that we have on God. It's not this mysterious thing that we can't see or this mysterious thing that's underground, right? The devil exists within all of us. So that's just you choosing a righteous path or an unrighteous path for that matter. So it's like it's not some mystical thing outside of ourselves tempting us. It's our own thoughts tempting us. And this is why we were discussing yesterday that we constantly need to choose light and love in every decision of our life. And if we don't choose those things, we are quite literally being little devils.
Mm-hmm.
So the devil is ourself, just like God is ourself.
Mm-hmm. The devil made me do it. The devil is you.
Right. The devil is you. They said the devil made me do it. That's real mysterious to me. I don't believe in anything mysterious outside of myself. If thy kingdom of heaven falls within this thyself, the same applies as hell. Yeah, exactly. Balance. Yep. You guys get it. I just wanted to make sure that I said that. But
all right. So the people who are operating in these lower frequencies that are reaping the rewards, getting financial gain in this world, what vibration do you think they're operating out of? I wish I could zoom in so y'all could see what I'm pointing at. But they're mostly operating out of what? Probably fear, desire, craving, greed, things of that nature. All right. So let's just talk about desire. Like Dre said earlier, desire is not a bad thing. It's not wrong to desire anything. Why are you desiring it though? Now, I know y'all can zoom in, but I just wanted to, as a presentation type of thing. But why are you desiring? What is it that you're desiring? All right. So that desiring, it starts off as disappointment because you don't have it. And because you are not operating out of oneness, out of, damn, I can't see the rest. Because you're not operating out of oneness, peace, joy, because you're not operating out of your higher chakras, all right, you're not operating in true abundance. That is why you are experiencing this desire. That desire then leads to what? hyperactivity. It leads to suffering. It leads to hyperactivity because you're suffering. And it's all a mental illness. It's all a mental illness because you're not even in your right mind. But like I said, before we get into that, all right, you're desiring something so much that you're suffering because you do not have it. And you're not transmuting the energy. You are staying in your lower chakras. You're staying in purgatory. You see how all of that aligns? Like, I wish Nicolette had dove like deeper into how all of these are literally connected, and how if you more so flip it and go to the oneness, joy, if you operate in oneness and joy, and you don't desire everything, you just know that everything is going to come to you. All right. It's one thing to know that you want something, but it's another thing to be actively chasing it. That's when it's greed. When you operate in oneness, you're operating in abundance. You know that whatever it is that you set your intention on is going to come to you, but you're more so operating in your lower chakras. But the people that are operating down there, we live in a devilish world. Okay. We live in a world where the more you give your soul away, the more you step away from what you know is right, the more you step away from your crown, from spirit, from the divine, then the more you will get blessed. All right. Those people are getting blessed because they're scared. All right. They built up some sort of success for themselves to the point where somebody came up to them and probably threatened their life, threatened something, threatened their family members, threatened to take something away. And now they're operating out of fear. They're operating out of anxiety. The fear, the anxiety is how they control you. So you can be low vibrational in everything, and you can still reap the financial third dimensional benefits of this world, but you will never reap the higher dimensional, fifth dimensional benefits of the world. You'll never reap the spiritual benefits of the world because you are not on the frequency to receive. And then how does this translate to business? If you're staying in the vibration of fear, if you're staying in the vibration of desire instead of oneness and acceptance and abundance, that everything is going to come to you. All right. If you're staying in the frequency of desire, then that is what is going to keep on coming to you. All right. All that exists is the present moment. So if you are desiring something now, you're going to be desiring it again in an hour. You're going to be desiring it again. When you actually get it, you'll just be desiring more of it because that's the frequency that you're tuned into. All right. Unlike if you was in oneness. This is the one I keep pointing to because oneness is really the entire thing. You have to operate out of wholeness and accept everything about yourself. Okay. Everything exists on a spectrum. This is something that a lot of people struggle with. All right. Before I go, I'm gonna get a little off subject. This is something that a lot of people struggle with, and they cannot seem to really grasp this law of polarity. All right. They can't seem to grasp the law of polarity. There's negative feelings and there's positive feelings, but neither one of these are more important or better than the other. They all exist on a plane. And the more you reject this one side of yourself, you are not living in wholeness now. You're not living in complete oneness. You're not living in complete presence and peace in the present moment because you're rejecting a part of yourself. See, like something a lot of people do when they get on their journey is they try to only stay and acknowledge the higher vibrational energies and not acknowledge the lower ones. And by doing that, you're not even really you're not staying in tune with reality. That's it. You're not staying in tune with reality. You're not staying grounded in nature. And this is another question that I had. She said, how do you feel? Basically, it was being rooted in yourself and who you are. I feel connected to spirit and mind, but not the body and not in reality, right? The reason why you might feel like that is because of what I just said. You might have leaned you might have leaned way too much into the spiritual side of life to the point where you got too disconnected from reality. All right. Last week, Geoff, he came on here and said, isn't it just so beautiful how a tree is just still, how a tree can just be? A tree can just be because you cannot move the tree. All right. No matter what you do, you can't move the tree. Nothing is strong enough to move that tree and disrupt its peace. It's going to sit there and it's going to absorb whatever comes its way, but it cannot be moved because of what it's rooted in. That is how you have to be in yourself. If you don't even know yourself enough to be rooted, then you are going to be like a lot of other people, spiritually. I call it spiritually lost. All right. You found yourself spiritually, but you lost yourself in reality. You're spiritually lost. You're no longer rooted in this world anymore because you found out the truths of this shit. And I ain't gonna lie, it can be like that. It can be like that. I swear to God, it can be like that. But as long as you know who you are and you have something that's going to keep you connected to this world, because yes, we know that this shit is a matrix. This shit is an illusion. Everything is just ones and zeros at its core. Everything is atoms. Everything just exists as potential until human consciousness perceives it. We know this. All right. And when you find this out, it can cause an existential crisis, but not if you are rooted in yourself, not if you are rooted in reality. You want to take care of yourself, but you also want to take care of your spirit and your soul, but you also never want to forget where you are right now. We're still on Earth. No matter how much you know how fake this shit is, we are still on Earth. You have to be rooted in something just like the tree is. You feel me? And if you are not rooted in something, you can never just be. The same way with the tree. The only reason the tree can just be is because of what it's rooted in. You cannot move it. And now it can, because you cannot move it, because its roots are just so strong, it knows that no matter what the fuck you do, you cannot disrupt my peace. I'm going to grow my leaves. I'm going to soak in this carbon dioxide. I'm going to soak in the rain. I'm going to accept whatever comes to me because I know it'll come. And you can't disrupt this peace. You can't knock me off my pivot. You can't knock me off my stump because my roots are strong. And a lot of people get lost like that. That's one thing. And then another question I had was, what would you say? Actually, no, I want to stay on this real quick. Actually, no, that might have been all I have for this. Dre, I'll let you piggyback off anything I said.
All right, bet. First of all, I want to say everything that you were saying was 100% spot on. I was definitely shaking my head a lot because, nah, that's facts. A lot of us are stuck in those higher dimensions and we forget to cleanse our temple. So I've actually encountered individuals like that where they're very up there, high in frequency, but like some of them don't cleanse their temple, which is also a part of our culture too, like taking a bath or making sure that we go and sit in some water and we meditate, or making sure that we're taking the time to walk barefoot. You get what I'm saying? All of those things. And quite literally, we will forget our tasks. So I seen somebody said, like, oh shit, I got an assignment due, and that's what keeps you connected. It really be like that. It really be like that. Like I told you guys yesterday, like I definitely experienced a phase where I was just very, very up there. I call that space, right? And you can forget the fact that you are still here. And that's not necessarily the end goal, because we're supposed to be an ultra instinct, which means we have a perfect balance between the heavens and this earth that we are walking on. You get what I'm saying? And that's actually what keeps us rooted, and that keeps us in a homeostasis. So all of us do photosynthesis. This is why we are supposed to do sun salutations. Understand that that tree does sun salutations by its leaves blowing in the wind. That's its yoga. You get what I'm saying? By that tree altering its branch to face closer to the sun. You've all heard how plants grow towards the sun. That's it doing yoga. No different than you doing a back bridge. So it's like
that's something a lot of people don't know. Like, people know that trees, plants are conscious, they are alive. We were taught that in school, but they don't know how conscious they are. They don't know that the plants are actually breathing. The plants release frequencies that we can't hear when they feel pain. We don't know that the plants, they lean towards the sun because they're conscious enough to know what gives them life.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Another thing too that I want to say is plants actually like negativity, because this is why they are. So the same way that we can transmute energy, they transmute energy too. So for an example, if you ever feel yourself in a lower frequency, go hug a tree, like a willow tree. Mm-hmm. That willow tree will now recenter yourself. It'll rebalance yourself. So when we seen the hippies back in the 90s, you're right, tree huggers, the hippies back in the 90s and 80s, people thought they were weird, but what they were doing is, Yeah, they like negativity. So no different than they like carbon dioxide, which is poisonous to us. They also like our negativity and they turn that into positivity. So there are things that are on this planet that are meant to transmute things. And there are things on this planet that are meant to amplify things. So we're talking about adding, subtracting, multiplication, and division. This is what we used and learned in school, but we don't actually know how these same things, this number system that we have established, correlates with nature too. Hold on. Sometimes I vent to a tree. Yeah, you're supposed to. You can sit next to a tree and talk to it. Like we're supposed. Oh, hold on. Send me that video with the flower. Hold on. I think I might have sent it to.
Can I build upon that tree?
What?
Can I build upon that tree, please?
You want to jump in the conversation? Okay, come on.
I just wanted to build upon that tree information. That tree is literally connected to all other trees in the ground. So if you really want that knowledge, it's great to meditate with the tree because it's not only just connected to other trees and all other plants and life forms in the earth, but also it's connected to the air as well. As above, so below. So the tree quite literally looks the same above earth and under earth. So just understanding that a tree is a great way to center yourself when it comes to meditating.
The tree's sole purpose is to connect to its relatives. So understanding that its job is to be able to grow its roots and spread across the planet. So we can see that, like, scientists have started discovering that a tree, for an example, in New York is connected to a tree down in Miami or a tree connected to California from a root standpoint. And a lot of us don't even actually realize that. So their sole purpose is to share the information that they have gathered from those specific, just like Avatar. Avatars are a direct existence. None of us are supposed to be brown. We're supposed to be blue and green. We have calcified ourselves. We are the same color as rust. That's why I use the iron analogy. We are the same color as rust, and a lot of us don't even understand that. We used to be green and blue. So they quite literally reveal ourselves in movies. And I want to talk about that for a bit because we were talking about how do people get abundance even though they're selling their souls and they're maintaining these lower frequencies. Satanists believe that if they tell you what they're doing to you, they cannot receive karmic energy, right? So that's their way to manipulate the universal law of karma, right? So pretty much there's nothing wrong with them putting in poison in the vaccination because we are all going to the liquor store and buying alcoholic. We are already consenting to being poisoned. So if we are consenting to being poisoned, why would they not go and put poison in the vaccination? Think about it. We're already saying it's okay to do it because we're doing it to ourselves. This is why they say treat other people how you would want to be treated. Or in order for you to receive love, you have to be able to give love to yourself. So whatever you consent to within yourself, that's what other people are going to be able to do to you naturally. So in order for other people to stop doing bad to you, you got to stop doing bad to yourself. Change your culture.
If you got the vaccine, ask yourself, what was your reasoning to get the vaccine?
Mm-hmm.
What was your reasoning? It was school.
Yeah, and it'd be like that. So I wanted to actually talk to you directly, Tiffany, about that because you said that school was your way to keep you grounded, but that's keeping you grounded in the matrix. I'm be real,
Exactly.
sis. And you know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I don't even have to be near you to understand that or hear your voice. I can feel that through this call.
We spoke about that the first time we hopped on the phone.
So, like, it doesn't take me much to read people. I can read people just by seeing what they're saying. And I know that we all see the same thing because we all exist on the same plane. So we're not receiving any different information. We're no different than a tree. So I have the same knowledge Derek has. It's whether or not Derek's going to tap into the same information. And he has the same knowledge I have. It's rather than if I'm going to tap into the information that Derek has. Oh man, I'm not on school to be an engineer though. Hold on. Certain jobs will make you get the shot. Yeah, no, that's true. They definitely, They plagued a lot of us by putting the shot as a necessity to sustain our life, right? So they said that if you don't get this shot, you can't come to work. Well, if you can't come to work, you can't make no money. So this is why it's important for us to free ourselves financially. And this is why in the Discord, they're offering sports betting where you can go and invest $10 and make 100 and something dollars back from it, or $200 back from it. This is why we do live trading calls when you can sit up here and catch 60 points a day and make potentially $60 the minimum. You get what I'm saying, from an hour of your time. So exactly, they make us fear lack, then they give us lack. Exactly. So I want to read this degree in this book too. This is interesting how this conversation is flowing. Y'all are definitely on point. I want to say this: everybody that's in this call is very, very conscious. There's no way that you guys couldn't be able to be conscious.
There's no way.
There's no way. Y'all wouldn't be able to be in the same frequency that me, Derek, or CJ maintains. Or Lexi for that matter, because I know that Lex speaks too. Which means y'all are on the same vibrational plane. Understanding, I want to say this too, how important vibrations really work. There are people that call my phone and I never get a missed call. They be like, yo, I called you 3 times. I show them the screenshot. I ain't get shit from you. I ain't get nothing from you. That means they're not on the same frequency as me. They quite literally cannot raise their vibration to the frequency to get in contact with me. So when we understand that there's individuals that are vibrating low, all we need to do is raise our frequency and they will cease to exist. They will quite literally get out of your same paradigm. There are people that walk past me and I know them. And they're like, yo, I didn't even see you, bro. Of course you can't. We're on the same vibration. You're never going to see me.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to see me. I can see you, but you can't see me. It quite literally happens like that. So everything that exists in the physical plane is only because it's on the same frequency.
I want to answer Zoom user's question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure everybody's seen the Matrix. He said, I want to know why the government wants to control us so bad. What do they get out of keeping us suppressed? What kind of low vibrational entities would want to go out their way to make Earth a living hell? Why do they use us? It's because we're this. That's exactly what Morpheus showed Neo. It's because you're this. We are all energy that powers up another system. I think I said this on the last live, actually.
Yeah.
We are all batteries, all right?
Mm-hmm.
We can all charge up something. You can either charge up their system or you can charge up yourself. You can put forth your energy to charge up what you want to produce into reality. But if they keep people not aware of this type of information, not aware of this type of thinking, then you'll always be using your energy to charge up somebody else's.
Right. So we have to understand that all these concerts, all these holidays, those are rituals. So everybody went and celebrated Easter. Congratulations. You just gave your energy to the Satanists because that's a falsified holiday where they did a massacre on it. They created an energy portal for this specific date and time every single year. So they are draining you. If you celebrate Christmas, it's the same thing. I don't celebrate any of those devilish holidays. I don't even celebrate New Year's on New Year's. New Year's to me is April 1st.
Mm-hmm.
That is New Year's for me. So we have to understand that the system that the indigenous people had in place with relation to the seasons is for a reason. Why would we experience New Year's in a cold, dead climate where no trees are blossoming yet? New Year's wintertime when all the trees are dead. New Year's supposed to be turning a new leaf. New year, new me. How is that possible when this tree has not renewed its leaves? When this flower has not renewed its petal? There's no way that's New Year's. That doesn't coincide with nature.
So I was just saying this to myself 2 days ago. I was just saying this to
we need to unplug in every aspect. That even goes for myself. I said something on Instagram where I said, it doesn't matter how good my message is. Just by me simply delivering this message on this platform is putting me a part of the matrix. That's making me a little devil myself, even though my message means pure righteous intent. And this is just something I have to do for right now. But when the collective consciousness is at a level of frequency to where I can just send brain waves and they receive it, I will stop using Instagram instantly. I'm gonna say this too, and some of my students are a product of it. I don't know if they on the call, but I quite literally have been in a meditation and have contacted them, and they go and text my phone 20 minutes later, talking about exactly what I was trying to talk about with them in my meditation. So they picked up on my frequency. They tuned into my channel and they said, yo, bro, my bad about such and such, I got you in 2 weeks. I was just thinking about that in my meditation. Like, so we can begin to do something called soul resonance. I want y'all to watch Soul Leader. I'm gonna type that in the chat. I said that before the first day I joined the Discord and the anime chat, but watch Soul Leader. They talk about something called soul resonance. And this is, I'm gonna tie that back to what Derek was just saying. We can quite literally link up our energies together and become a crystal grid. So the same way you create a crystal grid, or the Egyptians made the pyramids, which are big crystals that go underground, those are columns that go underground, and they are aligned up with the stars like Orion's belt. So this is now aligning something that's on this physical earth with this cosmic energy. So they're pulling that cosmic energy back to the planet. So now we are able to alter the frequency of the planet. Understanding we can do the same thing. So if we decided to align ourselves with the same symbol as the Merkaba, and we go and start saying Om, making our bodies vibrate, now we are coming in unison. We are becoming connected. So we will begin to make tree. Oh, I think she sent me the video. You sent it to me, right? Okay, cool. So I'll pull this up real quick. Let me see. Because she definitely sent it to me. This is the power of the voice. And I hope y'all will actually be able to hear it. Let's see. Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, that should be in my photos, actually. Huh. How do you can't find my photos? Hmm. Sure y'all can see my screen. Share this. Okay, y'all can see this? Type of one in the chat if y'all can.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna play this. So this is a group of divine feminine women using their voice to make this flower blossom.
Sobre esta tierra, los cantos, besamos la vida, los que están por venir. Nadie belleza, recuerda su canción. Ay, me tiembla la mano. Te amo. Porque estás aquí, recuerda esa gran recuerda. Sagrada. Ay, 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 yo. Ay, 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 yo. Ay, 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 yo. Ay, 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 ay.
So y'all get the gist. That should be making me tear up sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. But like it's the fact that we can literally sing to these things and they will start to grow and blossom. And the divine feminine energy is what this planet needs. We've already been in a masculine frame forever at this point. We've recognized God within man, but we have yet to fully acknowledge it within the woman.
Mm.
And this is why they actually oppress women so much. So the first step was taking the Black man out the home. Now that woman is victim because the black man is supposed, what they saying. I don't,
I can say
yeah,
something.
she can tell you what they say.
What they're saying in the song is to remember who you are, and they're singing to the flowers, because there's actually more flowers in the background that ended up blooming, but it's just like they're talking about remembering who you are, your connection to this divine experience, and that they're just really like serenading it, calling it beautiful, and yeah, that's really what they're talking about.
So I want to say this too. Whoever Zoom user is, it had to be like 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the rising. And I woke up out of my sleep and I told her that God is a woman, not a man. God is a woman. So they have this saying, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It has to be the chicken. Something has to be brought into existence in order to exist. Can you take care of that, please? Thank you. Appreciate you. So the black woman, the melanated woman, I'm not going to say black woman because we often put race as something that's so separate, right? So we look at Hispanic women as not black. So a lot of people would not consider Nicolette an African woman, but she is. A majority of her actual lineage is African. And a lot of us don't understand that. The black woman can create every type of race known to man. They can create an albino child. They can create a darkly melanated child. They can create a brown or copper tone child. She can create everything in existence. That is the most powerful force on this planet. And this is why you guys get suppressed so much. And understanding the only reason why you guys were able to be attacked in the first place is because they took the physical polarity out the picture. So men are supposed to provide food, clothing, shelter. But they told the black woman, no, you don't need a man. Go get a job. Don't heal the planet. Go get a job. Forget about healing the family. Go get a job. Forget about healing your tribe. Go to school. Go get a degree. Go learn how to do your taxes. Forget about healing. So they quite literally put you guys into a masculine state of mind. All business women that are successful have masculine energy. Facts. All successful students that are women have masculine energy. That's what it takes to be successful in those fields. Now, the issue between the divine feminine and the divine masculine and why they're bumping heads is because a lot of females don't know how to differentiate their workspace with their relationships. And vice versa for men too. Men don't know how to get into their divine feminine either. So they don't know how to be submissive to their woman. A lot of men talk about a woman submitting to them. We also have to submit to them as well. That's the only way we can actually reach harmony. Hold on, let me say this.
I suggest to everyone watching this, read the book that Dre keeps showing, but also read the book, The Willie Lynch Letter. It literally describes how they made us. Like, Dre, have you read that?
No, but I can actually break this down on how they enslaved us. I can break this down. So, what's interesting about it is, and one day I would love to show you guys. One day I would love to show you guys buck breaking. But I can send. Matter of fact, I'll type that in the chat. Google buck breaking. It's like buckbreaking.com or something about that. It's like buckbreaking.com. Let me see. Matter of fact, let me try to pull up my laptop. I could probably find it for y'all. Buck breaking.
Buck breaking probably one of the most gruesome shits they've done to us.
And they still
y'all
do
gonna
it.
Be shocked when you read it.
They still do it. But when y'all watch buck breaking, it's a documentary. It's like 2 hours long. Quite literally, when they came here and we were on the plantations, the alpha man, the man that had the most masculine energy, they will go and use him as an example for all the other slaves. So y'all leader now just got fucked in the butt. Y'all leader just got whooped. And I'm gonna break this down from an energy standpoint relative to chakras. They always whoop us with our backs facing to the sun because they understand the sun is going to charge up our pineal gland, which gives us more energy. It charges our solar plexus, that inner sun that we have. The sun charges that. So of course they're gonna whoop our backs to the sun. That way we can't charge up while we getting that ass whooping. And they're ripping out our chakras from our spine. Our chakras are known to be on our spine. This is why in order to realign your chakras, you need to do yoga, align your vertebrae. So imagine them sitting there whooping your vertebrae every day, every time you're disobedient, every time you're acting within your culture, doing a ceremony of dancing and singing to help these flowers grow. Every time they see you giving an offering, throwing a flower into the river, maybe praying to Oshun to bring more abundance into your life, to bring more healing to your family. Hold on. Yeah, everything I've been taught not to do is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, it's very simple. Do everything they tell us not to do. If I'm being honest, everything they tell us not to do is exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Do y'all think interdimensional ETs are here? Like reptilians, Pleiadians, Greys? Yeah. We are a part of that. We are a part of those alien species though. Like something, my dad's a Mason, he's a Freemason, so I'm gonna state that. But when I was a little kid, and my dad did take psychedelics, but he used to come in the room at 3 o'clock in the rising. That's the time where the spiritual veil and the physical veil is at its thinnest point. He would always deliver a message to me. He would say, that's the only time my father would ever show me affection. He would say, we're not from this planet. And I'm half asleep. He would come in there, he would kiss my forehead, and he would say, we're not from this planet. He would say, you're a god. And you know that, step into it. So I was hearing this all the time as a little kid. Would you say that Caucasians are stuck in survival mode? Yeah, we're in a mass genocide real time. And understanding that anytime they have a child with a melanated being, their DNA strand is diluted and it's destroyed. So we also, I want y'all to remember, I'm not gonna say this was 7th grade biology, but y'all remember hearing about how we have recessive traits and dominant traits within our being and our DNA coding. So there's so for an example, brown eyes is a dominant trait. Blue eyes is a recessive trait. Curly hair is a dominant trait. Straight hair is a recessive trait. So understanding that the Caucasian man and woman have all the recessive traits. This is why they burn from the sun. They don't have enough neuromelanin not to burn from it. And I want to say this too, for any Black people that burn in the sun, it's because you're not activating your neuromelanin. None of us are supposed to burn. That means you have a evil energy on you. You're vibrating at a low enough frequency. The sun is a purifier.
Yes.
The amplifier if you're already pure. If you're not pure, it will burn you. This is why depressed people don't like the sun. Depressed people stay in darkness because the sun is burning them. It's piercing their eyes because they are not vibrating at a high enough frequency to be inside of that light. So they have to stay in the darkness. So anytime you're depressed, the best thing for you to do is get your ass in the sun. That is the best thing for you to do. Kick that energy off of you. Anytime you have skin impurities or you have skin infections, go in the sun. It'll purify you. The sun cures all. It cures all diseases. It cures all sicknesses and illness and ailments. It raises all frequencies and purifies it. We look at fire as a very destructive thing, but if you guys watched Avatar, when Aang first found his first mentor, they talked about fire a lot and how fire, when controlled, is pure and it's beautiful. But fire uncontrolled is destruction. We have never seen this sun's fire come and burn this entire planet. It's a controlled ball of fire, which means it's a purifier. But if that ceased to exist, if the sun exploded, everything would burn in it. Everything near it would burn in it. This planet, Mars, moon, you name it, all of them will burn. But because it's a controlled fire, it purifies all those things and it amplifies all those things. Hold on. Yeah, I don't acknowledge time and age anymore. That's a spell. So understand, I want to break this down to you. When we go and celebrate our birthdays, and this is funny, a lot of us celebrate our birthdays. I don't celebrate my birthday anymore. Like I don't actually go and sing happy birthday. I don't allow people to sing happy birthday to me because that puts me in a spell of aging. Yeah. Skin cancer might be a sign you're eating bad foods. Yeah, it is. Yeah, go ahead.
So in terms of sicknesses, it all stems from the ailment of the spirit. So when you're not in alignment, the only reason why you're getting sick is because of the lack of alignment.
Sickness is a vibration,
Yeah, it's
is
a
what she's
vibration,
saying.
literally, quite
Mhm.
literally. Conscious chart, it's quite literally a vibration.
Yeah.
Once you're higher up in the consciousness, you will not get sick. You will cease to get sick.
Mhm. So another thing too, anytime you get like a stuffy nose or you have a lot of phlegm, if you sit there in a Buddhist position and you just say and you could do that for an hour, that you're flushing that sickness out of your body, quite literally. And imagine doing like, and I can say this because I physically experienced it. When I used to get sick, my personal trainer used to make me meditate in a circle with all his children. Hold on. There are sunscreens for Black people. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
And then the thing with sickness is I be saying this to people. Don't
No,
say
we
that
don't.
you're sick. Don't affirm that to yourself.
Right.
Say that your body is healing itself.
Right.
Because people only realize that their body is sick or something like that when they start experiencing the symptoms. But those
Mhm.
symptoms is just the body healing itself.
Yeah,
Start
exactly.
projecting those words onto yourself. I am healing.
It's funny. I want to say this. Why do they make us take Tylenol? Tylenol is supposed to get rid of fevers, right? But fever is a natural reaction that the body does to kill germs.
Thank you.
Our body's quite literally heating up.
Our
Vibration
body is
very
heating up
crazy.
and vibrating faster to kill off the sickness that's in your body.
Mhm.
So why are we taking a medicine to make our body cool off?
We can take herbs
We
to
can take
help,
herbs.
to help
Yeah.
alleviate some of the things and help us go through this like sickness quicker, so we can then elevate from that. But in terms of like taking medicine to completely like get rid of what the body is doing, is like actually counteracting ourselves, because we're all the medicine that we need.
Mhm.
But
Our body
we
is
just
self-healing.
use these tools because we are here on this physical realm, like herbs, to help us on this journey. And it's not we're not using them. We're working with them and allowing them to walk us on the journey.
And then another example, what is a tumor? A tumor is, so first off, cancer is just an irregular growth of cells. So those irregular growth, those cells, they group up in one spot of the body. And then the tumor, that swelling, that inflammation, that's your body sending little defense agents to go knock out these rogue cells, to knock out the cancer.
Yep.
But you notice this tumor, you go to the doctor, and the
Mhm.
doctor puts you on chemotherapy.
Mhm.
Now your body is no longer self-healing itself.
Yep.
You were healing yourself until you went to the doctor. You subjected to this Western medicine.
Right. The big pharma, as me and my lady call it, big pharma is a malpractice. So they were quite literally sticking rods in people's heads, trying to mush up their brain to see how they react to it. MK Ultra. They were using electric to shock our brains to make us forget our memories, and then would implant new memories in us. I want y'all to watch that. I want y'all to watch Mission Mind Control on YouTube. I'm gonna type that in the chat. Mission Mind Control. This was documented on the news. Mission, hold on. Mind control. Mission. Can I type the name?
Even with stuff like HIV and AIDS, like let's say you get HIV, the medicine that they give you or the cure that they give you for it is what actually gives you the AIDS.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So nobody actually had COVID. The vaccine is what gave them COVID.
Yeah, if you actually look
This
up
is
the
why-
symptoms
yeah.
of radiation poisoning, it's the exact same symptoms of COVID. So we have to understand, during the time of COVID, they were putting up a lot of 5G towers, and understanding that 5G tower emits so much radiation that our bodies weren't used to it. So a lot of us were getting sick,
Yeah.
but we weren't going outside even to look and see what they were doing.
Mhm.
So that's just another thing.
One thing that me and my lady was researching at that time, and I believe, I don't know if AJ's on the call, but this is stuff that I was talking to people like CJ, AJ, and all those folks. Notice that the areas during COVID that had the highest cases, let me stop sharing my screen, that had the highest cases had the most 5G towers. So New York City had the most COVID cases. They had a 5G tower every half a mile. Every half a mile, there was a 5G tower. I was in the military. That's a military weapon. I can tell you because I had to use it for an experiment. They were using a military weapon to destroy people's brainwave frequencies in combat as our cell towers. We sleep next to devices that maintain 5G. Our PlayStation now operates on 5G Wi-Fi. And I want to share this before we get too far off topic. And we're talking about heat.
If you're losing money as a trader, here's why.
And we're talking about heat and
That's the
frequency.
problem. See, Paul Tudor Jones is one of the greatest traders that's ever lived. The strategy.
Okay.
Hornets have other problems to contend. Like the hornet queen, the queen bee has the immeasurable task of laying enough eggs to ensure the health and future of the colony.
To be fruitful and multiply. Oh, I want to pause that too real quick, because there's so much I could talk about. A lot of women are deciding not to have children. How are we supposed to survive if that's the case?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
On top, so this is a part of the genocide. We have to look around like at every aspect of how we be to understand like what's really going on and to like really build upon what he just said. Us as women, and I can speak from this standpoint because I used to not want kids myself, actually. We've been pushed this basically thought process that it's okay to not have children and to just be a boss bitch and just go after your career. But what I've personally noticed, because as a woman, I've spent time with other women who are older and that haven't had children, they actually they literally cling to younger like children just because they want that, like they're seeking it and they just denied that. So like we can say that now, but the older we get, we're gonna like have those feelings of wanting a child because it's just in our DNA, it's in our programming. So
Just
that's
like
just a part of the genocide that we are facing. And if you look at statistics, there are more Planned Parenthoods in communities where there's more melanated beings. So that's just another thing that we have to really take into account. Why are these things being pushed upon us? Because like we see, I often, when I see a sacred woman, I often see it's usually white women, and there's nothing wrong with white women being sacred. Do them, that's cool. But we don't see enough examples of us melanated women being sacred. We usually see artists like hip hop artists and like R&B artists, and they're usually sexualizing themselves.
And that's who we call queen.
And that's what we call queen.
And that's what we call queen. Beyonce, Cardi B, we call them queen. Nicki Minaj, those are our queen bees. Yet they're over sexualizing themselves. And I want to say something. They said, but then again, who wants to bring kids into a world like this? We're all on a call talking about high vibrating things, right? And we're all being aware that hold on, I want to say this. And we're all aware that a lot of stuff is going on. So if I want y'all to say there's more than 20 people that I've had this conversation with, there's thousands of people who I can have this exact same conversation with. And at the end of the day, if I can have this conversation with thousands of people, that means they can have that same conversation with thousands of people. So if we all recognize the same thing, then we can change the world. It's not saying one individual will change the world, but us as a collective will. So why not? So if we are living here, why not create a better planet?
That would be denying the fact that we have the power
to change.
If we have the power to go after the career we want, get the money that we want, get the house that we want, get the dream life that we want.
Yep.
Why can't we do that with our entire environment?
What are you putting your focus to? Matrixy things like going to school and getting a degree. Rather than saying, wait, let me go and build a garden to begin to grow some food that will heal my family, because I know that they're pushing out improper food or GMO food.
And all it takes is a group of people to come together and create an environment like that. This is why we had tribes.
This is why this is a tribe to me. We're having a tribe-like conversation. We're talking about networking and building upon our understanding of our relationship relative to the planet. We're talking about healing ourselves. So we are already changing the planet just by us talking.
Exactly. Actually, I want to read something.
We are a part of the planet. Hold
on. I wanted to say this. The purpose of a spiritual community is to support each other's spiritual growth. And when you have a support system, understand that you have a giant community to tap into. So you can create literally a physical area where y'all can come together and have a space where y'all feel safe.
Yep. I'm gonna say this, me and my lady both experienced that. It's called the Center for the Higher Self. And this is in Miami. And pretty much, I mean, it's not open anymore, but it was a beautiful spot that was spelled to a very high frequency. So I would go there and meditate in that temple that they had. They had a bunch of Buddhist statues and pictures up on the walls, and it's very peaceful. Um, there's a lot of places like that in Miami, for that matter, all over, where they're now creating spaces for people to go inhale and meditate. It says, what do you think about modern men today, all over the media, on podcasts? Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, pushing masculinity and putting themselves above a woman. Is that what they're teaching? Is what they're teaching righteous? No, it's not. A lot of them have egos. So I will say this: Andrew Tate has a very, very big ego in regards to his relationship with women,
Which is why he got messed
which
up.
is why he actually got messed up and kidnapped in the first place, because she is her spiritual. His women are supposed to be praying for him so he does not get attacked like that. But he doesn't allow them to, because he's actually oppressing them. He believes that they're supposed to be shutting up and being quiet rather than defending him against spiritual attacks.
Mm.
So understanding any man that has a strong woman who is spiritually in tune cannot be touched. Any man that is successful is because of his woman. Women are our motivation to build things. So it's interesting to see a man not to desire to build a family, because his family is the only actual motivation he has to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Why do men get money? To get women. That's why they get money. That's our motivation. So understanding that we are supposed to be using that financial abundance to add on to this planet. I was thinking, I think we're getting closer to change every day. There's a mass awakening, and people are getting more and more, and people are getting more and more angry every day. France and London. Yeah, exactly.
Protests are everywhere.
Understanding that when there's no masculine energy there, there's not going to be any revolutions. And this is why they buck break us to this day. This is why they're pushing Black men to be wearing dresses and being gay like Lil Nas X. If we're not in our masculine frame, there's nothing that's going to make us upset enough to actually use our physical strength to go and attack it. It takes a village for children. Yeah, it takes a village to raise a child. When women think about having kids, they think they'll be alone. Exactly. So now I want to talk about women feeling like they'll be alone when they have kids. One, that's trauma that's been instilled from the 1960s, pretty much from the 1920s up until the 1960s. The government did a good job of making sure that the Black man is not in the home. So the woman would make more money if there was no man in the house bringing in any income. That's where government assistance or Social Security came into play. So she said, so the Black man at that time, our men fell victim. We thought it was better off for us to leave our families so that our women can make more money because we're not there. But that was the worst solution. It was all a trick. It was a trick to get us uninvolved with our households. Look at any child that doesn't have a father. They typically have no sense of direction. They typically don't. And it's not necessarily saying that a woman cannot raise a child, but she definitely cannot raise that child by herself. And I'm gonna bring this up from a statistical standpoint. It's also a proven fact that men who are single fathers, their children end up more successful, quote unquote, than single mothers. A lot of single mothers' children end up reverting to the streets or selling dope or becoming crackheads themselves. There's not too many women that are strong enough to actually make their child be a very strong and independent individual.
And if they are,
because there was no man in the house to give them direction, Tiffany. There was no man in the house to give them the direction in life.
Right. So now, where's my book at? Where'd you put my book? Oh, hold on. That's not my laptop. So when we talk about the 12 jewels of Islam, or the 12 jewels of the gods and earths, as this book refers to, we have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, freedom, justice, equality, food, clothing, shelter, love, peace, and happiness. So those 12 jewels is what the man is supposed to provide for his family. That's the foundation to actually build a sustainable family. So we say, what is knowledge? Knowledge is the foundation of all things in existence, the Black man. Wisdom is the wise words spoken by a wise man. Understanding is the best part of living mathematics. Freedom is to free the negativity from amongst yourself. Justice is the penalty or reward for one's actions or deeds. Equality is to be equal mentally as well as physically. Food is from the tree of life, truth. So we need to be feeding our families the truth. It says clothing, to clothe you from unawareness. It says shelter is protection from the devil's negativity. So understanding that a lot of our women have experienced more trauma than they're necessarily supposed to because men decided to stop doing their jobs and abandon their families. So like that deadbeat dad, that's a term that came about because over time we have been conditioned not to be a part of our family's lives. So a lot of men quite literally don't know how to be fathers, nor do they want anything to do with it. Just like a lot of women don't want to raise their children in this fucked up society, so they stop having children. But neither one of those is a solution. And I want to say something else too for women feeling alone. And this is a little taboo, but we talk about polygamy a lot. Polygamy is actually for a woman. It's not for a man. We experience men and they talk about it, and this is something that they want to do, but that's supposed to be if a woman feels like she needs it. And that's not supposed to be out of ego. A lot of women are going to say they don't need polygamy, but it's not true. Cooking and cleaning, healing, and working a job.
Like you guys said, it does take a village to raise a family. And on a historical level, this is just something that our people practice. So we just have to understand, like, if we're not doing it out of ego, like there's really a bigger purpose behind it. A lot of men build out of ego, but that's just their nature, like actually getting confused with different dogmas. So because we're in a world where men have been pushed to be like the leader, the sole leader, and like the one to like be like, oh, like you can't say this, you can't do this in the family. It's kind of like, it's just a lot of ego behind it. But the women also has her own wisdom. The women also has her own polarity. And like we just have to really acknowledge that and support that, because women usually are overworked in these families where there's just one man and one woman. If they have multiple kids, like a lot of women, if you talk to them, like my grandmother, she was one, she had multiple kids, she had 6 kids, and she just told me how she was just felt overwhelmed, just like even on top of her working, like even if she didn't have to work, she noticed that her mother, who didn't work, she was overwhelmed herself, and she had a lot of kids. But yeah, it's really how you want to build, and understanding if you do want to have a lot of kids, like that's something that you should look at.
Honestly, even if you don't want to have a lot of kids, because a lot of the kids don't receive enough love, and all of us, especially the 2000 babies, we're a product of it. We don't know how to even love because we didn't receive enough of it. Mommy and daddy was working.
Exactly.
And some of us are single children. We still didn't receive enough love, or proper love for that matter. So when you add other sacred women into that picture, they're able to give love when their biological mother's not able to give it. They're able to go and breastfeed these babies when that biological mother can't do it because her nipples are sore. You get what I'm saying in terms of breastfeeding? If daddy's not there to show me love, I have 2 mothers to go and do it. This is to make sure that everything that this child needs to be prosperous has it. That's the purpose of it. So understanding that a village consisted of a group of polygynous families. That's how we actually used to build tribes. The Native Americans. It was a bunch of polygynous families that now built a nation. It's likely our parents didn't receive love either. They didn't. A lot of our parents are a victim of the crackhead, the cocaine 80s. So a lot of their parents were either cokeheads or they were abusive. And then their parents were the actual ones that first got introduced to it. And that's also when the civil rights movement was going on. So half of their parents got killed. I can say this, I have a great Uncle Bobby who passed away. He was a cokehead. He is my dad's uncle. So now understanding that his entire generation, he was born in Jesus. He was born, not Jesus. Hey, you're not talking about Jesus, but he was born in like the 1950s, early 50s. And understanding that time, the Black men, that's when they first started being separated from their family. So they lost their purpose. The one thing, which was their family, they no longer have. And they didn't know what else to do with themselves. So they started reverting to heroin and cocaine. So now that generation of Black men that still decided to have kids or managed to have kids anyways, they grew up without fathers because their dad couldn't stop being a cokehead. So now I want to say all of my Uncle Bobby's children are a little offset. His son is gay, which, listen, no judgment, but his son is gay. His daughters are well off, but one of them is single and the other one is abusive to her man. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's all a reflection because daddy wasn't there. and neither was mommy. Mommy was a crackhead too. Mommy was more involved, but she was a crackhead too. You understand what I'm saying? And that's 95% of our stories when we actually look at our family history. And I promise you, you go to countries like Dominican Republic, it's the exact same thing. It was an agenda, yes. If you actually look at the sequence of events, you'll realize that it was too strategic to be an accident. It was way too strategic to be. So being gay is wrong. Listen, it's your choice. There's no wrong or right, but it's understanding from a biological sense. We're denying our nature.
Exactly.
We have biological programming. People forget we're also animals. Do you know that there's people that believe we are not a part of the food chain or the ecosystem? When half of the species gone extinct because of us. Hold on. It says same with AIDS and HIV, planted that.
Yeah.
You said it a lot better than I would have. That's crazy that today's African Americans are like the first generations to experience. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, we are,
Yeah,
but at the same time, we're not even free.
Yeah, but we're not even free. It's a false freedom. It's a false freedom.
Actually,
Right. So understanding that them pushing this gay narrative is a part of the mass genocide. Understanding that if everybody was fucking gay, nobody would be having kids. And understanding who is the forefront of the gay community, Black men and Black women. And when they're not pushing Black women to be gay, they're showing Black women dating white men on TV. That's all we see on commercials. Black women with white men. Facts. Really think about it. And every time we see a gay person, they're Black. Or they're two white men. I want to talk about Greek mythology. And when y'all watch the documentary Buck Breaking, you'll see it. But in Greek mythology, they promote gay sexuality amongst men. It was actually preferred by them. Being gay is not a melanated man's thing. That's not a part of our masculine energy. Or Black men, hold on. Or Black men with white women. Exactly. Or Black men with white women. I never thought about trauma, not until it came to the US. I started seeing a lot of people talking about it. Peep the HIV commercials.
Yeah, I want to speak on that real quick. Like Sheck is not from the US. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like all these like little agendas going on. It resonated. It started here. It started in America. Yeah. Like our people in Africa, they don't even know before they actually go to Africa, they get shown videos of Black people in America, and all they get shown is like Black people killing each other. So they automatically think like, damn, nah, these people they fucked up. Like, exactly. Like they fucked up. They don't even care about each other. So automatically when they would come here, they would automatically not even like us because they got fed a false narrative of who we are.
Yep. And you want to know what's funny about that? I have a lot of friends that are actually African and Haitian, and all their parents said they don't like Negroes. They don't like Black Americans. They call us Yankees because we are so far away from our culture. We are so far away from it. And I want to harp on something too that you were saying in terms of that. Even countries like
Yankees is wild. I know it is.
Yeah. Nah, Yankees is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Yankees got it. Yankees got it. But they do call us that. So what's interesting about all of that is because it's quite literally, if you can change America, you can change the planet. America is the most diverse country on this planet. It's also the most enslaved. People think China is worse than America. If you actually go there, 95% of the shit that we see on TV that they say about China is not actually true. I want to state that.
There's just propaganda everywhere.
It's propaganda.
No matter what, it's just like you just have to look at everything with non-judgment because that's the only way you're going to know the truth.
Wow. 25% of the world is prisoners in the US. Yeah. So understanding that the US dollar, because it was king, they quite literally had a threshold on every other country. So this is why, and understand that America is the focal point of, I want to say this, 95% of the planet is polygynous.
Already, yeah.
Already.
They just call it cheating.
Not even no, not even that. Not even that. Actually, in these cultures, like
Okay.
legitimate communication about this way of life, 95% of the population actually practices that. It's only in Western civilization where this is taboo. It's only in Western civilization and first world countries. So understand that war in Iraq that we had from 9/11, one, first of all, that was all planned. We all understand that was all planned at this point. But understanding that the Iraqis, the Taliban, they were fighting for their way of life. They didn't want anything to do with us. They wanted nothing to do with us. They wanted to fight for their way of life. They wanted to fight for this man going working hard and he can come home to a cooked meal. They wanted to fight for this woman not to have to go and bust her ass working a job. She can just focus on healing the planet and healing her people and healing her children. That's what they were fighting for. They were fighting for their way of life, not because they wanted to come and kill us.
Think
They were
about it.
trying to push the
Think about it.
monopolistic system on them. Listen, I want y'all to think about this. I want y'all to think about this. When we look up polygamy, they only show the negative sides of it in America. The only positive form of polygamy we hear about is with African men. All the Black women said, oh, you need to go get you an African man. He'll take care of you. That's every culture with the man. It's not saying that there aren't men that decide to take advantage of that and become abusive. Hold on.
Another thing too, in terms of leaving America, to the person that said that, we've been going back and forth with this, but like something deep within me is like, why would we leave when we could just take it back? Like
We
that
were already here.
Away from,
Right.
like,
a lot of us are running away from our
Yeah.
problems and we're trying to move to other countries to find happiness. But at the end of the day,
why not
we all,
continue?
exactly. First of all, we have to understand they took our land by force. They didn't come and buy it from us. Christopher Columbus came here and he didn't only see the Native Americans we see in textbooks. He also seen something called Negro natives.
Mhm.
So half of us aren't even African.
Mhm.
Half of us
I
are
wanted to talk about this. I wanted to talk about this so bad today. I don't want to now. I'm gonna let you keep cooking because y'all are going the fuck in. It feels good to just sit back and listen. But it was somebody in the Discord earlier. He was talking about, man, what's even the point of standing up and trying to support yourself if the government just gonna come do what they do? It's that mentality. It's that mentality why we are where we are. Imagine if the Haitians had that mentality. What foot would they still be under? Imagine if they had that mentality in the 60s. Even though the Civil Rights Act is completely the civil rights movement is completely distorted in our perspective, what we think it is. What if they had that mentality when they was fighting for our rights?
Right.
I
That right there reminds me of Harriet. I don't know if y'all seen the movie Harriet, but there's like a scene where Harriet Tubman, like one of the slaves was about to dip with Harriet, and she was like, yo, we gotta go through this river, like we gotta go through the river, swim, whatever. They was like, I don't know how to swim. And she was like, what you mean? Like, it's either you going this way, you're not going, basically. And dude was like, nah, we finna go back and go through the bridge. But that's where, all the slave catchers, they was all waiting for them there. And then Harriet was just on some, like, she was about to, like,
be a slave and die.
Right. She was about to, she put in a gun at him, about to kill him, and was like, listen, you either going this way or I'm gonna kill you right here, because you're not about to die by them or get caught by them. You either gonna die by me or you coming. And then he ended up
You're
going
already dead. This is what Rashad
you're already
said.
dead, so
You're already dead. When you're a slave, you're already dead.
exactly.
You're
So
already
what do
dead.
you have to lose?
And
So what
quite
do you have to
literally-
lose?
And quite literally, they're doing this to every country in the world. We can't run away anymore because they're quite literally going into these countries. They got the first world countries down pat. They're working on the second world countries, and they're definitely going into the third world countries and getting them too, just like us. So we can't go nowhere. We really can't.
I want to
We
say,
just gotta change where we're at and help those who are willing to do the same and where they're at.
Yeah.
So we could show them, yo, like just like how the Haitians showed us, yo, we could fight for our freedom. The same way we can do that, we can do that here, we can do that everywhere.
I'm gonna ask y'all. I'm gonna harp on this first. Somebody said "Dead Man Walking." I don't know, CJ. You remember that song?
Yeah.
Dead Man Walking.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Words of choice. Right. So like, there's a lot of songs that we used to listen to that are quite literally talking about our daily lives. And what I want to say to the Haitian Revolution, they didn't have guns, they didn't have technology. So how did they free themselves? What did they use?
Mm.
What did they use to get free if they didn't have all that technology?
Spirit.
Right.
That spirit.
Oh, the spirit.
Honestly, somebody said, what would we
Yeah.
do to change? We have to change ourselves first. We can't help anybody else unless we help ourselves.
Right.
So that's us to literally elevate consciously, because honestly, there's a blueprint already out there. Like, we don't even really have to talk about it. Once you up there, you know what moves to make. This is what we were talking about, being in the 12th dimension. You said, what is it called again? It's like automatic.
Ultra instinct.
Ultra instinct. This is what ultra instinct comes into play. And we just really have to elevate ourselves so we can get into that state and work together, because it's just gonna flow.
Y'all want to know why Rashad Jamal and Andrew Tate got locked up? Because they want to be capable of violence. Those are men that want to revolt. Understand, they assassinated Malcolm X because he wanted to actually revolt. I want to say something else too. We idolize Martin Luther King, but he was pushing the mystery God and Christianity to us.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said,
have any of y'all seen, CJ, Nicolette, Dre, have y'all seen the movie A Birth of a Nation, the story of Nat Turner?
No, but I heard it. But Nat Turner's that dude. I do want to say that. But you can continue if you want to explain it.
Everybody, that's a movie that everybody needs to watch. We're talking about a revolution right now. Basically, Nat Turner, he was the only slave that knew how to read. The only reason he knew how to read is because the master's wife, she taught him how to interpret the Bible. But of course, what did they do? They took out pages, they took out books, they rewrote it. That way, what you're preaching to them, that way, what you're preaching to them will keep them enslaved further, right?
Yeah.
Listen,
and he knew how to read it perfectly. And then he realized what he was doing. He realized how he was enslaving his people more. He was going to other plantations. He was seeing how other people were being treated. And then he was ready to lead the revolution. And then this is why I was just talking about how you can't have anybody on that weak ass mentality in your revolution. Because what we have right now, you can consider this a spiritual revolution. We're teaching people how to become self-sufficient and not dependent on the government. We're going against the grain. You could consider that a revolution. And all it takes is one cancer cell in the body to spread to the rest of the body and start infecting other cells and make them cancerous.
Exactly.
I want to say this. So the military is based off of our principle of life. So we had a saying. They say, on the strength of the length of the cable, dependent the might of the chain, who knows how that might be tested, so live that bears the strain. And it's literally saying you're only going to be as strong as your weakest link. So if your weakest link is a cancerous cell, that's it. You might as well pack it up now. It's going to fall regardless. It's going to fall regardless.
This is why we got to elevate ourselves.
And in terms of Nat Turner going and preaching the mystery God, that you're 100% correct. There's quite literally something called the Negro Bible. I want you to pull up that quote.
Yeah, but can I I'm jacking violence, in my opinion. Violence isn't necessarily needed at all. Honestly, it's about, we have to elevate ourselves. And we can't do it through money. We can't free ourselves through money, because that's going through them. But in the beginning, like, we have to obviously first like make these steps to freeing ourselves physically. So we're gonna use things like money to free ourselves. But once we get out of that mind frame, once we get out of that whole like physical frame, we don't need those things anymore. Like, we really have to just walk away from those things, because those are their things. Like, we really just have to unprogram. This is the matrix, their matrix. So
I'll explain it. I'll explain it like this. The reason why violence is not necessary is because the universe actually, it corrects itself, right?
and I'll break it down like this: the law of karma too.
But that's the universe corrects itself. So I want to harp on, somebody asked about these alien races and Pleiadians and all of that stuff, right? And that's a very interesting subject. But it's quite literally that this is an alien race war that's going on. This is a spiritual warfare. So we cannot solve this by going and actually committing violence. We just need to be in tuned. So understanding that nobody can come and harm me. Any weapon formed against me shall not prosper. That's why we say that. So it's confirmation. It's literally like that. It's literally like that. There's no reason for me to go and harm anybody. Them being around me and them not being righteous, they're gonna harm themselves.
Mhm.
They're gonna harm themselves. They're already doing it.
They're already killing themselves off.
It's a proven fact that birth control has been more of a damage to the white community than the black community. Birth control was put in place so we stopped having children. Yet we're having more children than ever. It hasn't done anything.
It's called
And-
eugenics.
Yes, eugenics.
Yeah.
They've actually been infected by their own experiment. They've been infected by their own experiment. Same thing with the vaccines. A lot of their children come out with Down syndrome or Tourette's. Name one black person you know that got Tourette's.
And another thing, to like really go back to that peace thing, like we don't need to go towards like violence. When I talk about that, I'm talking about like on a spiritual level, we can literally raise ourselves consciously where those things will not affect us. Like he was saying, we just really have to understand that when we do a prayer, that's sending an energy force field around ourselves. So all we have to do really is come together, elevated in consciousness, and pray for ourselves and for each other. And that's how we can protect ourselves. But like we said, we've been pushed the wrong way to even pray because we have things like the Negro Bible that were pushed out to our ancestors. And now we even have Bibles out now, but it's still diluted. It's a known fact that they've rewritten the Bible so many times. The King James Version comes from Great Britain. And it was written in favor of the people for the people to follow their king, to worship their king as well. So we have to understand, like, we can't go to their roots of spirituality to free ourselves.
We have to live our own culture. We've been trying to do it their way. We've tried to live their culture to survive and to elevate, and ultimately it's never been successful for us. Monogamy has never been successful to the black family, ever. It's never been. I'm gonna be honest with you. We've already tried violence to go and free ourselves. The Haitians didn't decide violence to free themselves. They used spirituality to free themselves. They worked with nature. Nature went and did all that work.
Exactly.
They called upon nature to come and push them out of their land, not violence. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's all magic is.
That's all magic is.
Magic is the manipulation
Of energy.
Of energy.
Yeah.
Everything in existence, water, air, earth, fire. These are all things that we are connected to on an energetic level. So magic, being able to even manifest something is a form of magic. Your thought is a form of magic because we are altering the physical reality with it.
Hold on. You said I had a vision on shrooms recently. What happened when we all come together on the mass level? I couldn't really see what happened after. It was like a major breakthrough and shift in another dimension, breaking through reality and sending it to a better one. Yeah, that's what we're all doing right now. So you quite literally are seeing present time and the future. We've been a part of those circles. At least I've been a part of those circles where we've came together and we've altered the frequency of the town, and people are coming and they're actually vibrating higher. Bro, papaya is the truth. Yeah, papaya cleanse. Yeah, that's a parasite cleanse. A lot of us can't tap into our powers because we have parasites, and parasites come from all meats and dairy. All meats and dairy. So like I said, we gotta completely unplug. We've already tried violence to solve our problem. That's what Malcolm X was pushing. Malcolm X was pushing violence. He was pushing revolution.
We honestly gotta get in tune with the Haitians did, like on a deeper level, like getting in tune with nature.
They're the only successful group to actually free themselves from slavery. Yet none of us decide to use the same method that they used. Which is
because we've been scared away from it.
Yeah,
You see somebody talking about their ancestors. If you're not conscious and you see somebody talking about, I was talking to my ancestors, I was talking to my dead relatives, you're gonna think they crazy. You're gonna think they
call it demonic. Listen, they call it demon. Oh, all you need is Jesus Christ. All you need is Jesus. That's all they say.
The ancestor, you praying to him. That's a physical person. What you mean?
Like what?
Right, right. And another thing too, we have a lot of false idolizations. We put human beings on pedestals as our God, right? So for us to go and say that Beyonce is the standard of the black woman, or that's the queen bee, that would be denying that this black woman right next to you is also a queen too. So you're pretty much saying that Beyonce is the only queen bee on this planet.
If we all from God, that means we're all divine.
Right.
We are all equal. This is equality.
Right. So there's a lot of gods and goddesses on this planet. There's a lot of queens and kings on this planet. And oftentimes we have been taught the Caucasian man of ruling over the planet, that there can only be one king that rules over an entire group of people. Think about it. King James. There wasn't multiple kings in England. That was our system. We had King Tut, and then way across the land there was King Akhenaten or whatever, and they were best friends. You get what I'm saying? Or they were brothers. We all Beyonce, the damn devil, she scared me. Yeah, oh God. Yeah, oh God. There's somebody. Hold on. Somebody need to.
But like, if we look at our history too, in terms of like how our communities were actually ran, there was councils of both men and women, elders, tapped into their highest form of wisdom, and we would actually go to them as a community and be like, hey, like, when can I plant these crops? Like they would literally tell us like, this is the best time to do this. They would just guide us, and it was both perspectives of the man and woman, and that's what brought balance.
We don't have that wisdom for our parents, so a lot of us can't even go and have these conversations with our parents. A lot of these individuals, like for example, if you go and talk to your grandparents or your great grandparents, they're the closest thing to being back to some type of our culture in terms of cultivation. Yet if you go and ask them, they won't remember it. They don't remember that they went in their back garden and picked a tomato and ate it out the ground. Or they don't remember that they were brushing their teeth with neem sticks, not with a toothbrush and toothpaste. People always say I have nice teeth. I have white teeth. I do not use toothpaste. And I do not use a toothbrush. And I do not brush my teeth with tap water or water, period. I use a neem stick. That stuff that you see the Jamaicans chewing on, that stick, that's actually what we're supposed to use for our teeth. Hold on, it says, my mom showed me these sticks like things from Ghana.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
Tiffany. Yeah, Tiffany, you on point. Yeah, 100%. Your mom's on point. That's what they do. Yeah. But we used to do this everywhere. That neem stick grows on all continents. Hold on. Neem stick,
beeswax stick. There's so many different names for it, honestly.
A lot of people actually feel the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're just afraid to say it. They're afraid to say it. So this is why we have to say it, because our throat chakras are open and we know that everybody's thinking the same thing. This is why I can talk to you guys and I can actually tell you what you're going through, because I discovered myself and I understand what myself was going through. And I know that you're in the same environment as me.
And in terms of like the issue with getting a group, like a massive group of people together, this is why like we just have to encourage people around us to elevate themselves consciously, because once we get to the higher realms, consciousness, the 12th dimension, that like we were saying, ultra instinct, we will just naturally get downloads of what to do, and we'll just work together on a flow, like in a natural flow.
Yeah.
So it's just, we just really have to elevate ourselves in order to have these things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all have a purpose and we all have some specific thing to do here. And we just have to tap into that. And in order to do that, we have to heal and walk away from the things they told us that we are.
A lot of people don't know how to actually find their purpose. So I think that what's beautiful about this is because Derek's very strong in zodiac signs, right? That's a part of your purpose. That's your esoteric coding, right? That's your soul's coding, right? Even down to the time that you're born. That tells you more about what's your purpose on this planet. That tells you about your soul contract. We don't actually have a soul until we come out the womb. A lot of people don't know that. Our soul jumps into the body once we come out the womb. Our vessels come out the womb. That's actually when our soul is implanted into our body. So before that, we're just sitting there walking around looking at these papers. We're going to sign this one? But once you're born, you forget all of that. You forget all of that.
Mhm.
So it's quite literally we're going from darkness, which is the woman's womb, into the light. But we forget in that process. So you can use your birthday as an example. So for example, our life paths, that tells us part of our purpose. It tells us part of the reason why we act the way we act. Those are our strengths. And it also talks about our weaknesses too. So my life path is a life path 3. I do want to say that. And I'm a communicator. Hence I like to talk. Very innovative, stuff like that. I'm also a Capricorn, so have a strong work ethic, all those things. Even down to my name. My name borns equality. So a lot of my friends used to tell me when they would get into arguments, they used to say, "Oh, nah, you can't go to Dre because Dre gonna pick both sides." If both of y'all have valid points, how could I not point out both of the valid points y'all got? And then also point out both of the areas that y'all are wrong. I always deal with equality. That's what my name born. So anytime somebody says Andre, they're bringing more equality onto this physical plane. In the mathematics, we can use that to discover what our name means. On the 6, I believe that's healing. Yeah, I do get that vibe, Lexi. Or I don't know if that's your full name, but I do get that vibe, Lex. Healing.
How do you
Yeah.
find? And honestly, it's best to look at all perspectives because it really puts the grand picture together. Like when you see the full picture, like of astrology, mathematics, numerology,
Yeah,
it really,
gematria. This
yeah.
is all gematria. Whoever's the Zoom user, that math that I was doing on that Google Doc, I'll share my screen actually, because this is perfect. Yeah, that's gematria. That's actual math. This is actual math. That's gematria. So, and I'll show you guys how to discover what your name borns. And we've been on here for a minute. This is crazy. It's
Yeah,
good.
this has been the longest one.
Yeah, this is
But
good.
real shit though, y'all have to this is why I do this for people, because I see how deep astrology is, and then the numerology just brings the confirmation to it. But a lot of
Mhm,
people don't even know their numbers. You don't
mhm.
even know the depths of your birth chart. Like something a lot of people do not even know about is their Chiron placement. Your
Mhm.
Chiron placement in your chart shows where you come into this life with a wound, and that wound is something that you need to heal so you can begin healing other people. So
Yep.
for example, my Chiron is in the 3rd house. That's the house of Gemini. Gemini is communication. So I used to have kind of social anxiety. I didn't want to speak up. Yes, Chiron. Before I get into that, so I didn't want to speak up, things of that nature. And I realized this in the military, but this is a wound that I healed. And now look at what I do. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? I am always projecting my voice and using my voice to give knowledge back, to heal other people, to help people get from that social anxiety.
Right. Oftentimes the things that we view that we have trauma in is often our strengths. So for example, you said that you were afraid to talk. I'm actually the same way. I was afraid to speak. I was afraid to speak in front of people, but that's actually my greatest gift. So most communicators experience that. So while you're a communicator through your birth chart, oh wait. Yeah, when you're a communicator through your house, you said, I'm a communicator based off of my birthday, like
Mm-hmm.
January 16, 2002, when I do that from a numerical standpoint. So a lot of us are relating to each other in different aspects. Like me and Nicolette, we are quite literally, we have the same makeup, but just in different aspects. So where she is a Pisces and she's very flowy, and I'm a Capricorn and I'm very strategic. To the flip side to that, my life path, which is a 3, is what was I saying again when I was telling you that?
How we're anti each other.
Right. But what was I saying? I don't remember exactly how I was
In terms
correlating
of
that.
his whole chart, here I'll pull it up.
But pretty much me and her have the exact same things, just in different aspects. So where our zodiac signs are opposites, her zodiac sign aligns with my name, and my zodiac aligns with her name, if that makes sense.
So Derek, I'll break it down to you like this. His sun is in Capricorn, his moon is in Pisces, and his ascendant is in Pisces.
Oh, damn.
In my chart,
Very emotional.
chart, My chart is this. My sun is in Pisces, my moon is in Aquarius, and my ascendant is in Scorpio. But then like we balance each other out in terms of like our names too, like our energies and everything, really like numerically speaking.
Mm. That Pisces too, because like with Capricorn energy, Capricorn is half fish, half goat. Capricorns, they can be too focused on achieving in this world and being the goat climbing the mountain and neglect their spiritual side, neglect their sensitivity, their emotions,
That's
etc.
exactly what, yeah. So it's quite literally, she healed me because that's what I was going through.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was going through. She quite literally healed me. And to the flip side to it, the areas that she was struggling with, those were my strengths, and I healed her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
That's something I can relate with too, because as a Capricorn as well, like one of my biggest struggles was literally expressing love and expressing like how I feel towards someone. You feel what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So now I feel like that's more in a flow. Like I don't have a problem with telling someone how I feel or I appreciate them, or just expressing my love for them in a form that I know will be reciprocated and not feel weird about it, if that makes sense.
right.
That's beautiful.
Honestly, would help me to start for people who are still struggling with expressing themselves. Would help me to start expressing myself. I chose my mission above all. So once I opened up my vessel, I actually spelled my vessel to make sure that I can deliver my message to everybody, no matter who they are. So I don't care about what's my relationship with them, how long I've known them. If I don't know them at all, I'm gonna say it how it is. Do you get what I'm saying? Understanding that my mission, which is to help everybody grow along with myself, that's my only goal. So once I submitted to that mission, I just now tell people exactly how it is. And sometimes it comes out aggressive, sometimes it comes out passive. It depends on based off of that person's energy, what I know that they can handle. So some people need a more calmer way to get it delivered. You kind of got to sugarcoat it. They can't handle that aggression. Some people need that aggression to snap them out of it. You get what I'm saying? So everybody's a little bit different. But again, we have to do our knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to this person's individual existence relative to ours. And once we have an understanding upon like who they be, we know how to deal with it. So it's not necessarily that we need to get people to understand. In order for us to actually do that, we have to understand where they're at so we can properly convey our message to them. But pretty much this is how we do it. So we obviously know that the letter A is the first letter of the alphabet. The letter N is the 14th letter of the alphabet. The letter D is the fourth letter of the alphabet. The letter R is the 18th letter of the alphabet. The letter E is the fifth letter of the alphabet. So if I wanted to go and say my name based off of the supreme alphabet, I would say Allah, now or end, divine or destroy, ruler, equality. That borns Andre. Or I can say 1 plus 14 plus 4 plus 18 plus 5 borns Andre. Or I can go and use the daily mathematics and say the same thing. I could say knowledge, culture. I could say knowledge, culture. Knowledge builds power. That also borns Andre. And that's not going to necessarily like make sense right now because y'all don't have the book, but when you get the book, you'll be able to tie the alphabet to the actual numerical system, which is the daily mathematics. And once you do that, you're actually working with the left side of your brain and the right side of your brain, which is your divine feminine and divine masculine. So this book is quite literally designed to center yourself.
Just like many other doctrines.
Just like many, exactly.
Like
just like many other,
Yoruba,
yeah.
which is the Yoruba spirituality, Hinduism, which is the Indian spirituality, and so forth. You can keep going, but like a lot of these teachings are just trying to help us get back to source, and they all say the same thing if you really look at it, like the grand scheme of things. They just say I have a different way of saying it.
Yeah, the book of numerology is a good book too.
Memorize,
yeah, I did memorize these things. But pretty much you got 11.
So you got to simplify that now.
Hold on, let me see this. Okay, so you said you got 11, 25, 1, 14, 1. So pretty much what we're talking about is knowledge, wisdom, power, knowledge, culture, knowledge, right? But then when we break that down, we got wisdom, God, knowledge, power, knowledge. And then we could break that down again. We got born, equality, right? And then when you break that down again, that's 12.
So the words come from the book.
Yeah, the words come
That's
from the
how
book.
you know
Yeah.
what it means.
Yeah, that's why I said get the book. None of this is really gonna make sense to you guys until you get the book, but I can't necessarily graft my understanding of it to.
Okay, that we're gonna end up doing everybody then if that's the
Yeah,
case.
I mean, it's I'm not gonna necessarily do everybody, but for the ones that I catch, I'll do a few of them. Oh, so that's 12, which is 3, 9, so that's 12. So your name born's understanding, but which is interesting because you articulate yourself in a very, very yeah, now I understand that, but I'm calling, her nickname's Quay. So yeah, so your name born's understanding. So I'll do that real quick.
Can you do mine too? If you
Yeah,
got time.
yeah, I got you. Hold on. 21, which is 3. And 25, 13, 1, 14, 5. All right, so I'm gonna just get to the end result. I'm not gonna necessarily break it down from the words and tying that all together because that's a lot. But I can do this though. It's not too much.
Okay, so if you have the book, start practicing like correlating the numbers and like let it to everything, like to every word, and break it down to its simplest meaning, and then see if that word aligns with the meaning and how it aligns, because it does align. You just got to figure out in which aspect it aligns.
Hi Marie Lou, your name born's equality too. So you probably choose the middle ground with everybody. Typically, you probably are right there in the middle. Sometimes it'll be considered that you're indecisive, but that's not really what it is. You just see both sides.
Mm.
Derek, I got you. Give me two.
Bad.
You got
I'm next.
I got you. You got it's all good. It's all good. I'm enjoying this conversation. So I told CJ I got a lot of energy, and tomorrow's Friday. Got shit to do.
$5 pump is
$5 a name.
crazy. $5 pump is crazy.
Hold on, we got 4, 5, 18, 18.
If it says abundance or wealth, it's in perfect alignment with my life path, my soul urge, and just the definition of Derek Garner. Derek is an oil pump. Garner means to
Damn,
gather.
you got 4 9s. That's crazy. You got 4 9s in your name. That's very divine.
Big divine.
So all of these ultimately just equal 9 anyways. That's 9. And you got 14, just 5. I'm talking about 14 again. So your name born's power.
Mm.
Yeah, your name born's
Yeah.
power. Here. We got CJ.
We love it here too.
So CJ, for you, we got 3, 12, 9,
$5 a pop. Facts.
No, facts. No, facts. No, facts. But we got 3, 12, 9, 6, 20, 15, 14.
Born understanding means to like actually bring into this physical realm understanding.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah,
Born,
so
when you're being born, think about it this way. You're literally coming from the womb into this physical reality. So that's what born means. Understanding, if you have the book, because I think you said you had the book, read what understanding means.
who said they got the book?
This person. The same person that you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the book already? Huh. That's interesting. So we got 6, we got 15, which is 6. We got 2, we got 6, we got 5. So that's 3, 8. That's 5, so I'll do 11, so that's 16. So CJ, your name stands for God, which makes sense. That makes sense. I
Feel
can
me?
see that.
Hey, look at it. It's the builder and the destroyer. What are you doing right now?
Cool.
Feel me?
Mm.
That's what God is.
Yeah.
The maker, and the owner.
The builder and
and
destroyer.
What are you
Yep.
quite literally doing right now?
Mhm. And I was born on the
Mhm.
16th, which is typically why. So it's funny because like, and I'm gonna put the synchronizations, but the first time CJ introduced me to you guys, he was talking about how our lives was very, very similar, but in different aspects. Like we quite literally experienced the same life, just the opposite end of that pole. And how I'll tie that together is Clifton borns God, but I was also born on the 16th, which borns God too. Do you get what I'm saying? So in God being the builder and destroyer, that's typically why me and him carry that energy, which makes sense. Articulating ourselves in a very, very finite fashion, a very, very precise fashion.
Y'all are both Capricorns.
Right. We're both Capricorns, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
That's funny.
told
So
him.
beautiful.
We're damn near
We got
related.
like, bro, we damn near related. We got like the
Related to
same
the same
cousin, but
person.
ain't never went to the same family party. Like,
Dre, you know where your you know what your Mercury is?
Oh, let me see. I got the chart actually. Let me check.
Because CJ's is in Aquarius, and that's why he's so good at elaborating and teaching.
Ooh, okay, let's see. Where is that?
I didn't even know you had my birth chart. That's funny.
I forgot.
Yeah. Got 11, 23, 1, 13.
His Mercury is an Aquarius.
Wow.
Jay.
Wow. That's funny.
Ooh, that's so dope.
Love to see it.
So I'm gonna do Mama Curly's. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. We got some wisdom, we got some power.
And mine's an Aquarius too. Wait, I didn't
Love to see it. That's crazy. That's divine. Crazy.
It never lies.
I swear to God.
12. We got some
Yup,
understanding.
the
So,
alignment.
so Mama Curly, your name borns understanding.
Oh, I was just gonna, something was gonna make me read understanding because I had a feeling, Okay, so in terms of understanding, it's a picture one draws from the knowledge and wisdom. It is to see with the third eye. In terms of you, like you gotta help people learn because you got the understanding.
Yeah, you got the understanding. You can build upon people's understanding.
Yep.
So her name borns culture. So you often see her, like, I don't know if you guys follow her, but she wears a lot of different clothes. And her playlist, I know CJ, I sent CJ her playlist, but she's got chutney music in there, Guyanese music. She's got Rasta music. She's got normal reggae. She's got Dominican music. She's got compa in there. She's got hip hop, 90s, 30s. She's got old Soul Train like Roy Ayers and people like that. She's got Wu-Tang Clan, which is more upon the, like that building energy. She's got a lot of diverse, but Nicolette borns culture. So she's gonna be very, very well around it and all her coaches. And that's also her actual genetic makeup. So every tribe that we can trace back to on these continents, she has all of that in her as well. Let me see here. Kaylee. Got some wisdom. We got some God there. Understanding. Knowledge cipher. So we got foreign culture. Foreign culture. So your name borns culture, Kaylee. There's a high chance that you're probably very in tune with a lot of different cultures. And we'll talk about that. You probably are very self-aware of the way you carry yourself relative to other people. Alexis.
Quay, I was very interested in what your birth chart is because I see how hard of a worker you are, how good of a researcher you are. You can talk a mile a minute and you're very witty as well. So I was very curious as to what you got in your chart. I feel like you got some Gemini and Capricorn in you.
Let me see here.
Oh, Orlando. Hey. There's people from
Other people from Rockland.
Okay.
Bet.
A lot of people. 12.
Advancing the culture. We're doing it from home.
Gotta start from home, right?
You got some 24. You got 9.
Oh, you know it's a good app for like
Virgo.
I don't know if you have this app, Derek, but
5,
what's it called?
6, 9, 10.
This is an app that we use.
We got 9, 15, which is 6. We got 10,
Time passages. Do you use that app?
15, 10, 25. Who was I just talking to?
Alexa.
Oh, Alexis, your name born's God too. Yeah, your name born's God.
Yo, real quick, how are you breaking the number? Like, I know you're doing it off the name to start. How are you breaking it down from there?
Okay, so because you do have the book. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, so when you see the daily mathematics, that's our foundation. Okay, so when we look at the numerical system, understanding that knowledge is equivalent to A, which is Allah,
Right.
because they both are the first. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So wisdom is equivalent to B, which is the second letter of the alphabet, which is be or born. Right. And then we have the third letter of the alphabet, which is C. The third letter in the daily mathematics stands for understanding. So both of those are referencing the third eye. So all I'm doing is I'm correlating our foundation, which is our knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture of freedom, power of refinement, equality, God, build or destroy, born, knowledge, add-on, cipher. I'm correlating that to these numbers, which is the supreme alphabet. So we have Allah, be born, C, divine or destroy, equality. So pretty much A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, 4 equals D, 5 equals E, 6 equals F, 7 equals G, 8 equals H. So now when I see all of those things and I get it down to its purest essence, I need to tie that back to my foundation, which is my daily mathematics.
Gotcha.
You feel me? And this is that's using the left side and the right side of the brain. So I could also do the same thing just by correlating it to the daily mathematics. So like I'll tie this back together. I can say Allah, Allah, be. I can say Allah, Allah, be divine. I'm sorry, pardon self. I can say Allah, Allah, be equality, be divine, Islam, Allah, Islam. Or I can say knowledge, knowledge, wisdom, power, wisdom, culture, born, knowledge, born. You get what I'm saying? That says the same thing.
Gotcha.
I'm just one of them. I'm using the letters and what they mean. One of them, I'm just using the daily mathematics and what they mean. So that's using my divine feminine, divine masculine simultaneously.
Gotcha.
So the only way we can actually understand what our name means is if we're able to break it down from this instance. But this isn't enough to tell us what it means. This is what we need. This is our foundation. That's actually how we use gematria.
Gotcha.
So this is called building because we're adding stuff. So if we wanted to subtract, I can also destroy things too. And I think this is interesting because
We did this person.
I didn't do them yet. But I'll get to that. I got it pulled up right here, so it doesn't refresh, which is good. But I think that it's interesting that your name born's God, CJ, and my name born's equality because of the divine mission that we're currently carrying out. You understand what I'm saying? And then for Derek, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, your name born's power. So we're talking about equality, power, God.
Well, in order too.
Right, 5, 6, 7.
Sheesh.
Which is interesting. So equality to the power of God. All being born of born. So we got 5 plus 6, which is 11, plus 7, which is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. So the three of us borns a lot of things into existence in divine supreme culture. So we are quite literally born a new culture. And didn't you, isn't your, what's your slogan again, CJ?
He just said that.
You just said that today
And last night.
Uh-huh.
and last night.
Oh yeah, I'm a culture advancer.
Right.
What?
Right. Makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense as a collective. All right. So I'm going to do Zoom user. Y'all got to put y'all Zoom names like as your name. Because I like to know who I'm talking to. Makes it a lot easier. 7. Got 3. We got 5. Got some 5 there. So we got some wisdom, God, understanding, power. 2, 10.
I just want to say y'all been up here for a minute.
Bro, y'all been up for a
y'all-
minute. That's what I'm saying. I like listen, me and her, we be doing this all night. This is all we do, like research, and we build upon things. This is, I mean, honestly, we've been prepared for moments like this because we this is all we do. And honestly, I would encourage everybody to whoever Zoom user is, your name is culture. So you're probably very well-rounded in different ethnic groups. You're probably very good at establishing culture. You're probably very aware of who you be. Orlando, I don't know if you're still on the call. Some of y'all probably jumped off, but you got 15. Hold on. Don't keep scrolling.
There's a lot of people.
Oh, some of them are doing it themselves.
Oh,
8 is build or
cool.
destroy. Hold on. This is describing you exactly. Yeah, that's beautiful.
The numbers don't lie. The astrology doesn't lie.
Yeah.
These divinations don't lie.
We got 15, we got 18, we got 12, 1, 14, 4, 15. Honestly, I use this for my daily affirmation. So this is why I remember it so well. And when you get the book, it's going to tell you not to advance until you memorize the full page. There are a lot of people that can repeat this book verbatim, especially from the 5%ers from the 90s, but they don't actually know how to apply this to their life. So it's just a bunch of information. It doesn't really mean anything to them. But a good way to actually learn this book is by using it in your daily routine in terms of your affirmations and stuff like that. So hold on, let me finish. Stop scrolling. Hold on. 6, 9, 3. You got
Y'all are saying keep going, but like, dang, I don't know how long y'all want to go for.
19.
It's 11:11, by the way. Oh, just changed.
15. We got some culture there. Power. This is 10. That's 15, which is 6. Orlando, your name born's God too.
Whoa.
Yeah. Your name born's God too. Mm-hmm.
Are you really going to do one of these?
I'm gonna put a timer on me, please, because you know I'll be up here all night. Set a timer for me. We got 7.
We gotta save some for the next call, you know?
Yeah.
Like
7, 8, 1. Honestly, I would have these calls on the weekend too, to be honest with you. I don't mind, like I would talk about this every night. Me and her talk about it anyway, so it's nothing for me to just drop a Zoom call. 7, 9, so we got 15, 16, which is 7, 5. So that's 12, which is 3. Got 8. Got 12, which is 3. Mimi, your name born's culture. Okay, I got you. It's funny how her name born's culture, and then you ask what explain culture again right after. That's interesting. Culture is your way of life, the way you present yourself, the way you present and carry yourself is your culture. I self lord and master is our culture, which is Islam. Freedom is to free you from all the lies and the wickedness of the devilish civilization. So pretty much your solution to actually embodying your culture, freeing yourself, Mimi, which you're probably very good at that already.
Honestly, this goes for anyone that born's culture.
Yeah, this goes for anybody that born's culture. Your solution is to actually just unplug. You just need to start unplugging yourself from shit, which means you're probably very capable of changing like this. Where some people might struggle to, for an example, going fast, you're probably very good at fasting easy. Like, listen, I promise you, like she scared the hell out of me. I'm not gonna lie. She just started fasting. She's like, I'm a fast. I'm like, bro, you're not gonna like eat one meal tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You just go stop. And she just did it the next day. The next day, she just fasted. And she fasted for 3 days straight. I was like, yo, that's dope. But that's quite literally like what her name means. Yeah, time doesn't exist when you're enjoying the present moment. That's facts.
Wait, so Mimi was 9?
Hers was culture.
Oh, 4. Gotcha.
Yeah, hers was culture.
What would 9 be? Like
9 is born.
How would you
How would I break that down?
Yeah.
And it's Islam too.
So yeah, and it also means Islam. So they're probably they're very good at bringing things into existence, right? So they manifest easier. A lot of people who are 9, they manifest very easily. They also, relative to the Islam aspect of it, I'll actually give y'all that definition of what I means, because we do have to correlate that aspect of it too. So Islam is the divine culture of the Black man. It is a true way of life of the original people. So anybody that has 9, they probably born their culture very, very strongly. They're probably very in tune with their indigenous roots, or very attracted to it for that matter. If you do come across an individual whose name borns 9, that's a great person to work with if you're trying to bring new energy into your life. Very divine energy, supreme energy, that's a good person to work with. If you guys do that from a collectively, that means you guys will bring a lot of things into existence as well.
Word.
So like me and her name borns knowledge add-on cipher, because her name stands for culture. My name stands for equality. So I'm equalizing her culture. I'm equalizing culture.
You know that song?
And her culture is equalizing for that matter. And all of that's being born in knowledge add-on cipher, which is 10 or 0, because 10 technically doesn't exist. But knowledge is to know. And in order for one to know, one must have the knowledge. Cipher is consisting of the 360 degrees of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is knowledge. So me and her together, we build upon an understanding of everything around us very, very easily.
You know that song,
Go
Funny How
yourself.
Time Flies? And it's like, funny how time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, quite literally. It's all about perception.
I'm Muslim. You are Muslim. That's interesting. Wow. Got me walking over it.
We love the dedication. If you're walking all over your crib with the laptop.
Yeah, I'll be doing the same thing. Doing the same thing. You sing, I mean, the voice.
Oh,
She
thank
should.
you.
Yeah,
I
she
do
should.
sing, but like,
Yeah.
like by myself.
Yeah. So, I don't see any more individuals. I think there's not too many people on here now. We got 15. But what's your timer at?
Oh, did I even put it?
You didn't set that shit?
I'm sorry now.
Yeah. Tiffany. Yeah, I got you, Tiff. I got you. Give me 2 seconds.
How do you pronounce that? Cheikh? I don't want to say it wrong. Check? Oh, that's cool. And
It's like check, but with this SH, with the SH sound.
Oh, they're those. That's the person that's not from here, right?
Right. Yeah. He's from Africa.
That's so cool. I love names from different cultures. And I'm assuming that's how you spell it in English, but there's probably a different way to spell it in your language.
Tiffany, your name stands for born. I'll do your name real quick. Check. You said it's Arabic. That's dope.
Oh.
Yeah, that's dope.
Do you know how to write in Arabic?
Yeah, do you?
I love the way Arabic like letters look. They're so pretty.
3, 8, 5, 9, 11. K stands for king. So anytime you're at the 11th day of the month, that's King Day. Anytime you're at the 17th day, that's Queen Day. Good day to go and heal your significant other. Hold on. Let me get his last thing.
Oh.
All right, you can go ahead if you want to scroll. So we got 11, got 14.
I definitely feel like I need to start learning how to write in other languages.
Well, we already knew this though. We were talking about it.
Yeah. You used to write it when you was younger. That's so pretty. You should get back into it, honestly. I honestly just want to walk away from English. Like that's the point I'm getting to right
It's just
now.
dirt.
It's not
It's
dirt.
dirt.
It is what it is. But like,
It's
you
dirt.
know, I just understand how it doesn't really convey every single like thought properly. Like there's just so many
Yeah.
other things that we could be using.
So Shaq,
I don't know what it is. Nah, keep going. Go ahead.
Shaq, your name stands for build. So let me ask you this. Do you help things develop very easily? Like do things develop around you fast? If you're still here. Let me see.
I know I like to read.
Yeah, you like to lead. So you like to build things. Yeah, that makes sense.
Leaders build.
Yeah, leaders build. And they also destroy.
And they also destroy.
So you're probably the beginning and the end to a lot of situations.
And you know, it's a beautiful thing when a bunch of leaders can come together and work together because that energy is just amplified. That's another issue too, like for our movements. Like we've had like usually like one person as the face of the movement. And I think like
Shaq means leader in Arabic. There you go. There you go.
Oh,
That's
Wow.
dope.
Oh, wow.
Shaq are scholars. There you go. That's dope. There you go.
Wow.
See?
Synchronicity.
See? Yeah.
Sheesh.
We got
It's like you can't deny it, man.
Nah, you can't.
Can't deny the
You
truth.
can't deny
If
the
you
facts
do
and
deny it, you gonna
And
end
he's
up
a
going
and
crazy.
he's a Cancer. And he's a Cancer.
That's a cardinal sign. Cardinal signs are leaders.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. But our parents didn't really understand what they were doing when they were naming us, but their spirit was definitely present. A lot of our parents were for children that are in the 2000s, early 90s. Yeah, our parents were very, very present. Not necessarily to where they can use the information, but
It's in our DNA.
But it's in our DNA. Yeah.
It's in our DNA, facts.
Yeah, that's why every answer is within. You just have to go within.
Tap into your DNA.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You got 2, 10. Yeah, so well, that's let me leave it at that. You got 10 and 10 again. So you got 9, which is 10 again.
That was the last one you gotta do because I put the time.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna finish this one. Let me finish this one. 11, 10, 9, 9. Interesting. That's some wisdom knowledge cipher. So that's 10. Just 10 again. Is that Tiara? That's how you pronounce that? That Born's understanding. That Born's understanding. So do you feel like you understand a lot of people? Like you know you can see where a lot of people are coming from?
Or a lot of people confide into you.
You're a lot of people confide into you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. A lot of people confide it. So the same way we were talking about our life path numbers, that correlates to the mathematic too. So not only am I a communicator, but I also understand people very, very well. And the combination between my life path number and my name borns things. So that's 3 + 6. So we can combine those things, which in turn will determine our entire makeup. So I bring a lot of things into existence with the combination of my birthday, relative to what my name means. People be telling me a bunch of stuff.
If you got a lot of Pisces energy in you too, because Pisces is the old soul of the zodiac, then you're
That's
gonna have a lot more emotional understanding, and you're gonna understand people a lot more.
that's
People will be
funny.
attracted to you, things of that nature.
But what's interesting about that is because when I was a kid, people used to ask me how old I was, and I used to tell them like 500 years old, right? So during last summer, I started meditating and I started seeing my past lives, and I realized like I was a samurai at one point. I'm like 5,000 years old, truthfully. And then I got readings, and people were like, they were like, yeah, you're a very, very old soul. You've been here for a long time. And then I think, oh, I didn't mention this on the last call, but my great grandfather is 90, he's 92, 93. And when I was meditating one day, I got a download that me and him were friends in a past lifetime. So I called him and I was like, hey, you used to go to this bar back in like the 40s and you were best friends with this person. He's like, yeah, how do you know that? Because I never seen a picture of the guy and nothing. I knew nothing about him. I was like, yeah, me and you were best friends. He's like, whoa, 'cause I knew too much information. So he was kind of like, nah, we definitely were. I was able to describe to him what the bar looked like, what conversations we've had, like all types of stuff, how that relationship even formed. So a lot of the times, like you were friends with your relatives that still exist right now.
Mm.
Kimani, we do our own readings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to in the beginning because we didn't understand how to do those things. We would pay for our elders to do readings for us, and they were always spot on.
But now
But
we got our own
yeah,
light.
but now we got our own light, and because we took the tools that they gave us and we started to use it ourselves.
I have a question for Derek.
Mm.
You got a lot of Aquarius in your chart. Like, is there some type of energy with that?
Yeah, I got a lot of Aquarius energy in my 5th house. So I got my black moon Lilith in Aquarius too. So like that's why I'm
You
so
said your fifth
rebellious. I'm
house.
rap. You said what?
You said your fifth house.
Yeah, my 5th house.
That's your power.
Mm-hmm.
So your
Mm-hmm.
energy, your power comes from your Aquarius. So we can break that down into our houses too. Like whatever our fifth house is, that's where our power actually lies.
Mm-hmm. I was about to break that down to Quay tomorrow because she has I think Aquarius. I don't think it's a stellium, but she has a couple Capricorn placements in her 5th house. And
Yeah.
now you see why she's such a hard worker. She also
Right.
has her Mercury in the 3rd house, the house
Right.
ruled by
Right.
Gemini. Mercury is at home in this placement. This which is why she's so analytical, good at researching,
Right.
things of that nature.
So she
And
gets
also for
very,
me,
very, very fast.
my sun sign is in I'm a Leo, right? I'm a Leo. So
Mhm.
my sun is in the 11th house. So
Mhm.
it's also the perfect balance between my Aquarius energy and the 5th house.
And you
And it
said,
all aligns with the my name, what you say, borning power.
Yeah.
yeah, power. Yeah. Yep.
And that's the number 5.
Right. And you said your 11th house was what again?
It's Leo.
So that's your wisdom. And that's also a master number too.
hmm
You master the energy that Leos carry. But that's also where a lot of your wisdom is too.
She said, you're projected online as a Leo. Yeah, everybody I hop on the phone with can kind of recognize that I'm a Leo.
Yeah.
And that's because I have the 5th house is ruled by Leo. So I have a lot of 5th house placements, and I have my Mercury, the way I communicate, the way I think is in Leo, and my general personality, the sun, is in Leo as well.
He said next he said I'm a cap.
But a lot
Look,
of my charts are Aquarius in the
uh,
1st. That's why you're so eccentric. That's why you're so
yeah.
eccentric. Like you won't see anybody do the type of hairstyles you do. Aquarius is ruled
That's your
by Uranus.
foundation.
Uranus is a different planet. That is why you will stand out. And it's not in a stand out type of way where you want to get attention. You stand out because you just know that you're different
Right.
and you want to express your differences.
And Aquarius is your foundation.
What do you? Well,
So that's her first house. That's her foundation. That's her knowledge.
so your first house, like, what's the difference between your houses and then like in terms? Because like right here on my chart, I see things like in correlation to the planets. So are those like the same thing or like different?
It said this call is really helping me with my identity for real, for real. That's beautiful.
What do you mean,
Like,
Nicolette?
are the houses the same thing as like the planets, or is it just something completely different on the birth chart?
What's the correlation?
So the houses in astrology represent an area of life. So the sign, so certain signs rule a certain house. There's 12 signs, there's 12 houses. So a sign is the energy, the house is that aspect in that area of life, right? So Sagittarius is truthful energy, wants to travel, higher learning energy. So it rules the ninth house. The ninth house rules religion, college, higher learning, long distance travel.
So that's why.
Capricorn is the sign of success. Your midhaven, your 10th house represents career, public persona, reputation.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And for people with Scorpio energy, where you'll see the most transformation in life is it depends on where your Scorpio placement is, what house that is in, right? So like, I'm pretty sure CJ is a Scorpio rising. If you have a Scorpio rising, the first house is the house of identity. It's how people perceive you. So if you have a Scorpio rising, chances are you'll go through a lot of ego deaths. You'll go through a lot of transformations of self. Your rules transformation.
That's crazy. Yeah,
That's not crazy.
it's not crazy. It's beautiful.
Mine's the same. My ascending, my rising is in Scorpio.
Mm.
And I'm big on ego death. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I needed that.
Mhm.
Time I have it.
Yeah, definitely a big confirmation if you haven't.
Yeah, honestly, we should like make a little thing where we all offer like our own little spiritual knowledge, like
Right.
where we can like have specific calls for people.
Because I learned shit today too.
Yeah.
Definitely. I learned some stuff today too with the astrology. We don't necessarily dive too deep into that. So it's like any information you got in that regard is
1 and 6 is your public self, and 7 and 12 is how people perceive you. So the bottom half of the chart, you can look at it like that is where the sun cannot be perceived. All right. So I'll start off like this. The top half of the chart, the reason the midhaven represents your career, the 10th house, is the uppermost part of the chart. So the sun in the 10th house is the highest point in the sky that the sun could have been when you were born. Does that make sense? It's where most people would have been able to see the sun. It's where the sun would have been really noticeable, basically. So everything above the 7 and 12, everything in the 7 and 12, everything in the upper half of the chart represents public. It represents your public perception. And everything on the bottom half is Cancer energy, the home life, the private life, what you keep to yourself. So what the sun is under the horizon, what you do not see, that is what the houses 1 through 6 represent. So if you meet somebody with mainly placements and planets in their upper half, you know that they're very worried about their public persona and that they're very outwardly expressive, rather than somebody with majority placements on the bottom half. They're more so keeping to themselves and reserved.
I'm passing tomorrow. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Yeah, this is a beautiful conversation. People talking.
I'm glad we had this. It's really not often I get to just sit back and listen to people just educate. And I've been doing that for the last like 5 hours now. I was on the phone with Quay and she was just putting me on some more credit information before we started this call. And then to just sit back and listen to both of you speak, like now I understand it's that Pisces wisdom that both of y'all have in you, the energy of an Aquarius to just naturally speak. And when you speak, you'll grab people's attention. It feels good to just sit back and listen, man. I love this conversation.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more fun like when you got multiple people like
Give back
give
to
back,
like, yeah, I don't like talking all the time because I do it so much already. So it's like part of it, like, and I can say this too. What my biggest challenge was as a kid, because I just like there was a lot of stuff that I always just knew. So a lot of the times I would be very dominant in conversations. You get what I'm saying? So a very, very big ego death that I had was letting people speak. You know what I mean? And I'm still working on that because sometimes I slip up, but like letting other people get their thoughts across and stuff like that. Gotta think of all the ways. I gotta think of a way to get famous.
and you know tonight is still the full moon, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a great shadow work, really reflecting.
That's probably why I'm turning. I don't know. I don't know if it's the
Not so
smoke.
good,
I'm about to say.
but yeah. Honestly,
Like, this
I think I want to start incorporating on like for like the what Wednesdays calls like thing like little. No, I don't want to like rituals. I'm gonna call it rituals.
Nothing wrong with that.
But
It's not wrong.
little rituals like that we could do together as a group because you know it's great like to do shadow work and just really grow together.
What did you put in this?
That was just straight herbs.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
all of that is
I would love mass meditations, group
Yeah.
meditations.
Yeah.
When we all linked up in Miami, bro, me, Vaughn, Christy, and Joe, we had all meditated together when everybody went on the yacht. And that was like, it was the most peaceful part of the trip. It was like a 10-15 meditation. But since then, like the connection that I built with them, it felt a lot stronger after doing that. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I definitely want to do as a group at some point.
That's crazy you say that.
I would love to know
Me,
world peace actually to piggyback off on that.
Group meditations create soul resonance. So like it's interesting for you to say that you felt like you got more connected after that meditation because that's actually what group meditations do. So that means that it actually worked for you. You actually achieved what that was supposed to happen. It's interesting, like, huh? Oh, it's interesting because the same way you gravitate, like I'm gonna be honest with you, Miami is, even for us, like when we got here, that really altered just our thought patterns because that area, especially like Wynwood and Edgewater and Brickell, is very, very progressive. And that's really the frequency it maintains. Honestly, I would encourage everybody to try to stay there for 3-4 days if you can afford it. You know what I mean? Because if you sit there and you don't plug into the matrixy things that are there and you just walk around and you just look and you sit by the water and like you don't even got to go to the beach, just on the bridges before the beach, like off to the side and meditate by those coconut trees that be sitting there, bro. I promise. Yeah.
no,
And
that's a fact. Cause not to cut you off, that's a fact. Cause honestly, like every time I go to Miami, bro, like I literally say to myself, bro, I love Miami. And I love the energy there. Like the
yeah,
energy
the air is
it's a
lighter. Yeah, it is.
yeah, the energy's lighter. It's a free energy. Like you actually want to go outside and be productive or just go
Yep.
do something or
It's
enjoy.
very innovative. It's very
Right. Like,
innovative. People are always walking their dogs. Like it's beautiful because me and her are not. We're actually not the only ones that get up early. Like right around 6 o'clock, you'll see everybody outside jogging, walking their dogs, eating acai bowls. Like people are naturally just healthier there. You get what I'm saying? It's honestly it's beautiful. There's a lot more vegan spots. Like I encourage next time y'all go, um, I encourage y'all to go to Organic Food Kings. That's a vegan spot. Very, very good food. Um, I would say another good place is that called La Cocinita. I think that's what it's called. They have a very good vegan place. They have good fries. I wouldn't eat the burgers because it's beyond burger meat, but um, yeah, the spiritual area is strong. That's because of the Haitian and the Cuban community. They practice a lot of voodoo there. So you'll see a lot of people wearing white on their heads or wearing white on specific days or Ifa. They practice all those things. There's a lot of energy portals in Miami too. So if you want to go and recharge, there's areas that are there. There's temples. There's women's circles, a lot of women's circles, a lot of men's circles.
But honestly, I want to bring that vibe here too.
Yeah.
Like I'm like out in New York, because like we don't have that, and honestly, I feel like that'd be so beneficial because we got a lot of like talent, like, and if we could just like use that for light, because like we see how artists like we got the drill rappers, we got all them like hood people that usually represent New York, and it's like nah, we got a light on this side too. Like Joey Badass is one of those people that really show the light, but I feel like we need more people like that.
Yeah, that's true. Music choice, the diversity, like a lot of us like different and funky music, but because our generation of people don't listen to it, we're afraid to go and play it. So like ultimately that's kind of what we were going through when we was in high school. Everybody was listening to Chef G, and I'm listening to it, and don't get me wrong, like I was vibing to it, but I always liked 90s music. I always like weird different spiritual music too. Yeah, I'm from New York.
From where Cebu's from.
You're gonna catch me listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, man.
Oh God. Oh God.
Yo, let me get a song. I'm gonna recommend a song. This is like
I got a few songs, yeah.
Yeah, but the end of this song, oh my God, it just speaks to me. I don't even know what they're saying, but
I'll put y'all onto a song too.
yo, and honestly, like moving on forward, like we could really like set up things in person at some point where we could have big get-togethers, like playing frequency, good messages in the music, just really vibing, having like basically talks like this, but in a circle, just like I think
Me and her were talking about like getting a lounge in Miami, to really bring that New York energy down there, because it kind of already exists. There's more people doing it, but bringing that area where people can just vibe and smoke and take shrooms, and there'll be lights and stuff to really take us on those deep meditations, even down to doing like Reiki healing and stuff like that. Very well rounded in that stuff that I studied.
This song right here, See the Light. Oh my God, man. This song, the end.
Yeah.
Can I play it?
You want to play it?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like 30 seconds. I'm gonna play it for y'all. Y'all can keep talking.
Well, no.
I just think it's so
pull
dope.
up on here.
Put it up on there. Just an announcement for everybody.
This song is talking about helping them see the light, like helping each other see the light, help them see the light, like the knowledge.
Hold on, let him see, just trying to say something.
No, I was just gonna, you good. I was just really gonna say a little sneak peek announcement to the 10 people on the call. I got a special guest and confirmation for next week's call as well. And let's just say my boy is pretty intelligent. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're just building upon the light. That's beautiful.
Y'all may or may not knew who I was talking about.
It's that song.
Yeah. What, you want me to go to the end of it?
Yeah, just like the last 30 seconds.
Just the last 30 seconds.
I love old school music.
I grew up on this.
It's just a bunch of good vibes after they were just singing help them see the light. Like I just love it.
Yeah, tap in with that.
Yeah, a lot of old music, man. Because we're in the year of 7, which is the year of God. 70s music is what we need to unlock ourselves. You guys gotta listen to 70s music.
Yeah,
that's what we need to unlock ourselves.
Our ancestors paved the way.
They paved the way. They quite literally were leaving blueprints, and a lot of them, if you go and watch like their interviews and shit like that, they'll tell you like kids from our generation, They left music for us. Like Erica Badu was saying, it's just like people in the 80s and the 90s didn't understand what she was saying, but the kids that were born late 90s, early 2000s, like up until 2005, like they're all able to process what she's saying in her music. So it's interesting because a lot of them strategically planned for us to come. Like we got a reading, and in a reading, the lady was like, "Oh, your grandfather planned you." And I was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Which one?" And she said, "Bald head, light skin." Now, my grandfather he looks Asian, very, very Asian. And he was very much into Chinese medicine, Qigong, Neigong, Tai Chi, studied Bruce Lee for a long time, all the above. And he's also a Jehovah's Witness. And what's interesting about it is he was having very highly intelligent spiritual conversations since he was about 11 years old. So he was an indigo child. He was born in that age where the indigo children were coming about. So, but part of being what's interesting about me and his conversations is because Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't believe that they are God. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, he kind of got indoctrinated in the process of following that religion. Before he was following spirituality, and Jehovah's Witness was kind of the end of his journey for that. And so it's cool because I'm actually showing him like the same way I dissect people's brains and I read them and stuff like that. He was like, I was doing that as a kid. I always sought to understand why people's brains function in the way it is, and how could I go and relay that to them in a proper manner without bringing out any egos. I was like, yeah, you were doing light work. So he's like, but how did you get it to the point where you actually got them to like grow? And like how did it not affect you? And I just told him I chose peace. Like he grew up very, very angry. He grew up very confused, even though he had all this information. He was just distracted. He was plagued by his ADHD, quote unquote. So a lot of our parents were on that path and for whatever reason stopped. Like I have cousins, they were burning sage and Palo Santo all the time. They don't do it anymore. So it's like, yo, cuz, why did you stop doing that? Oh, I don't know. Life got to me.
Mm.
That's it. That's it. You just life got to you. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's
I
it.
don't know. I just stopped. You know,
Yeah, I don't know. I just stopped. That's it. But really really what it is they never got that guidance. There was nobody that was able to build upon the interest that they already had with discovering themselves. It's like it's truly a blessing to find teachers. You know what I'm saying? When you feel like you're crazy, because they're a very big confirmation in the time of need.
And honestly, this path takes like discipline for real.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not some shit you just gonna pick up and go away from. It's gonna smack you in the face when you gotta go away from it. So
but
just gotta make
Look,
sure.
let me put y'all onto an Earth, Wind, and Fire song. When niggas get off this call, y'all have to listen to this shit, man. Just listen to how they started off, bro. It's called Imagination.
Oh yeah, I heard that. I heard that before. Bro, and the thing is,
he's gonna play.
are you gonna play it?
I just played the first like 15 seconds.
Okay, bet.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I wasn't gonna say nothing. What was you was trying to play it, right?
No, I just wanted to play the quick little intro. You good? And just show people the name of the song.
Hold on, we didn't hear it.
You know, throw it in the chat.
No, yeah, we definitely didn't hear it.
We didn't
For
hear
real?
it. Nah.
No.
Oh, that shit tweaked out. I don't know why. That shit tweaked out. Yeah. I'll try it one more time.
That's because he wasn't supposed to break your fast. Yeah, we can't hear it.
Yeah, for some reason, your audio's not picking it up. Like we heard like a little
Yeah.
hint.
Fuck it then.
You should share your stuff.
I'm
Or
I'm
I'll pull it up. Or CJ
Sorry,
pull it. Hold on, Earth, Wind, Fire.
At this point, you might as well just play the whole jump. I promise you. All 11 people watching this, y'all gonna be in love.
I'm about to play it.
I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Yeah.
Just-